Great, I'm delighted to be with you today, and I'm even more delighted to welcome my friend and colleague, Mr. David Christie. David, how are you today, sir?
Well, I'm not in sunny Spain, that's for sure. Slightly less warm here in Scotland, but it's an absolute honour to be back here for another final for the Lamborghini Esports here on Asphalt. So much to talk about, so much has changed, Paul, and it looks like we've got plenty of time today to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, so much has changed. It's now Asphalt Legends Unite, bringing together all of the drivers on all of the platforms into one competition. And David, over 1.3 million drivers, and we've whittled that down to just 8. This is going to be spectacular.
And what an 8 it is as well. 2 reigning back with us, so we've got a great mix of, you know, established talent and brand new talent. 3 players that we've not seen in the previous finals before, so it's great to have them in. And as you said, that crossplay, Paul, just adds a completely new dynamic. But I think it's such an awesome move. It means everybody can get involved, even old people like myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody can become a pro. That's the whole point of this competition. It's about the community, it's about engagement, it's about letting people be involved, play together, enjoy the game together, and then competitions like this one, so we can pick out some of the strongest drivers amongst a wildly talented and committed pool of talent. And in a very short while, David, we're going to talk to some of these drivers ahead of the race. But for me, this is a slightly different environment than perhaps what I'm more used to. This is all going to be about the energy and the drama and the tactics as well, which play a big part in this kind of racing, don't they?
It absolutely is, and let's not forget about the car being the star of the show today, the Lamborghini Temerario, introduced just a couple of months ago as part of that Speed Parade, Haunted Wheels and Black Friday update in Asphalt as well, and being the second car in Lamborghini's HPEV lineup to feature in the game. It's a little bit better, a little bit different to the Revuelto, the predecessor to the finals that we had last year. A little bit better on the nitro management once the car's maxed out. Also, that top speed coming out of the corner, the exit speed is one of the highest in the game. It makes it such a critical car for performing these stunt moves and getting absolute precision and accuracy. But Paul, here we've got the brackets.
Yep, so we're going to race in brackets here. It's a 1v1 competition. In the quarterfinals, it will be Future Flash versus RPM Alex. Then it's going to be Elite Joe and Jägermeister facing off against each other. Mion and Suchi in the 3rd race of the day. And then Fury Dark Hyper versus Race of Best. These will be a best of 3 races. So they'll do the best of 3. Whoever wins that one will then transfer through into the semi-final. Again, best of 3, we've whittled it down to 4 drivers. We're going to make that into 2 drivers. They'll go into the grand finale. We change things up at that stage. We go for a best of 7, and whoever comes out on top will be our overall champion. And of course, we're also going to have a 3rd place final, which again, a best of 3 competition between whomever it is that fails to make it through to this, from the semi-finals. So there's a lot of racing to be had. But they're only very short, sharp races. They're going to be on different circuits. There'll be different strategies and tactics employed. And it's a little bit, and of course, cross-platform. So we're going to see a range of different devices in use, David. And it's going to be about who can survive the pressure on this one, isn't it? Who can perform on the day? They've got only 3 races, best of 3 races, a maximum of 3 races. You've got to hit your marks. You've got to nail it first time for these drivers, realistically, don't you?
Precision and accuracy is what got them to this point here, Paul. But as you said, LAN in person, such a different kettle of fish. Actually going face to face with the person that you're going to be racing against adds such a wonderful thing to the event as well. It's also a great bonding experience as well, because many of these drivers might not actually get a chance to meet each other in real life. So as a fantastic social experiment for them as well, as we get a little wave hopefully from some of the drivers that are taking part.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us a wave, chaps. Say hello to the camera.
Faces.
Everybody's got the game face on, haven't they? Nobody wants to give anything away at this stage. It's all about the mental. A little bit of practice there as well at the end. It's all about the mental game in this one. And again, what makes this interesting, David, compared to the more traditional seated in a rig type esports? These drivers are going to be literally 1v1. Sat on their desk, they can see each other, they can feel the emotion of each other. It's a real mental game as well as a physical one, this, isn't it?
Absolutely, and as you said, with us having the remote finals last year and coming to LAN for this year, I'm very interested to see how the drivers react to that as well, especially when they're in that face-to-face environment. You know, I'm sure it'll be all fun and friendly and all that. Part of me, being an absolute chaotic person, wants to see a little bit of trash talking in there as well, Paul. A little bit of ribbon going on. Unfortunately, that's very unlikely. They're all very, very grown up, unlike myself. This is why I don't go to these things, Paul. You know.
Absolutely. I mean, the camaraderie has been fantastic. They've been doing media activations all day yesterday, little bits of video, some photos, and it's really nice that everybody sort of comes together. And a lot of these drivers, it may be the first time they've ever met each other. It almost certainly will be. And some drivers, it's the first time coming over to Spain. And it's great that everybody's in the same situation together. And often, when you've got a shared experience, makes it all the more important to build those bonds and relationships. But make no mistake, when it comes to game time, when it comes to race time, all that gets thrown away, doesn't it? It's everyone for themselves.
100%, Paul. I think we're about to see some Christmas card lists getting altered very, very quickly through the course of the afternoon. Listen, these drivers are the 8 of the best in the world. That's why they're here today, and that's what we're going to be seeing from them. It's not going to be the first time that they've been, you know, playing against each other and coming across each other. So it'd be fascinating to see what they've done in terms of research for the playstyle, what they're going to be up against, and combating some of the different driving styles that we're going to see over the course of the day. And again, you know, they didn't know about the brackets and the pairings until very recently, and now we've got to go and try and figure out exactly what sort of environments we're going to be racing on today as well, Paul. So there's been a lot left to question up to this point, so there's only so much preparation these drivers have been able to do.
And I think that's wonderful, isn't it? Because that takes people outside of the comfort zone. It means who can react first and fastest to how they get on with the business of going about racing. But you mentioned brackets, David, and that's absolutely perfect timing. It's almost like it was on cue, because we're almost ready to go into the racing action. So I'm going to take this opportunity to invite our first 2 drivers up to the desk. We're going to have a little bit of a chat with them. So I'm going to go off of the head mic in a moment and go on to the stick mic, and we're going to have a quick chat with our Round 1 quarter-final drivers, Future Flash and RPM Alex.
Well, while you do that, Paul, it gives me a chance to say a huge thank you to our partners over at Gameloft who are helping us make this happen, at Lamborghini, and of course AK Informatica for helping us with the event. And also, I can see chat is going absolutely crazy. We see you out there. We will do our very, very best to answer any questions that you've got. Fire them into the chat, and we will do our best to pick them up and to ask whatever it is that's on your mind. Try and keep it clean. It's still early in the morning, folks. But it's great to have such a worldwide audience. I can see he's checking in from the likes of India, from the Philippines. So keep it in. But Paul, back to you for our driver interviews.
If I can ask Future Flash to come on over to this, welcome. How are you? So, can you introduce yourself to our audience? Let us know who you are, where you're from, and how old you are, please.
So, I am Leo, also known as Future Flash. I am from Greece, and I'm competing for my 10th championship. And yeah, I'm really excited for these finals. It's going to be really intense. And yeah, let's see how it goes.
A 10th championship is absolutely incredible, but talk about at home, what kind of things do you do in preparation for something, an event of this kind?
So, of course, you need to invest a lot of time. Nowadays, we are also busy with work, so it's not so easy to invest a lot of time in the game anymore, like in the past. But regardless, we still try our best to practice and test the car capabilities in each and every track. And of course you need to try and see how the car reacts in every map, then you can have an idea eventually how to drive the car in the finals. And of course, without practice, if you don't practice, there's no amount of talent that can give you the win. Or of course, luck is also involved, but in the end, it's all about also knowing what you're actually doing in the game. It's not just luck, so.
Wonderful. Well, we look forward to seeing how that goes on. But before we say goodbye to you, RPM Alex, if I could have you come over and stand at this side for me, please. welcome. Thank you. So, we've heard already from Future Flash. I want to hear a little bit about you. Could you tell us your name and the kind of things that you do at home when you're not racing?
So, hi everyone, yes, I'm Alex, 30 years old. I'm becoming old now. For living, I have a company. I founded my company 2 years ago, and now I'm fully dedicated there. So yeah, as Future Flash said, it's quite complicated to find now time, to invest time in the game, because it's becoming harder and harder to keep the level. But here we are, so that means we can still compete at a certain level. And yeah, this is going to be, I don't know, my 10th, 11, I don't remember now, final. So I did a lot of finals. Let's hope I can win this one. And yeah, I'm looking forward to race against you.
And one final question. Did you ever believe that something that you enjoy so much, like a racing game on a mobile device or whatever console platform you want to race on, can bring you all the way to Jerez on the Lamborghini World's final weekend, racing on live television in front of some really talented drivers?
I mean, when I downloaded the game, clearly not. But now, I mean, I had already a lot of experiences, such as the legendary trip with Lamborghini. I've been to headquarters in Modena. I drove a real Lamborghini. I've been to Barcelona, Gamescom, Jerez now. So really with Gameloft, I would say, Asphalt, and now Lamborghini as well. I had great opportunities, and I'm really, really happy about that. I will always be grateful for that.
Wonderful words. Right, gentlemen, I've embarrassed you enough at the front of the stage. It's time to go racing. So if you would please take your positions and we will get going. Wonderful. Have fun. Thank you very much. David, I'm going to hand back over to you, and then it's time for us to go racing.
Excellent stuff. Thanks very much there, Paul. And great to see some handshakes going out. And also, chat, while that was going on, I was watching what you were typing. I thought you were here to watch the amazing action that we were bringing you, and it turns out you're all just here for some free codes. I've got no idea if we're giving any out today, but keep an eye on chat for that. Meanwhile, while Paul gets himself ready, we've got our first bracket quarterfinals away to get underway here for the Lamborghini Temerario Challenge Esports 2024. And here we go then with the bracket. Paul, Future Flash versus RPM Alex. That is going to be an absolute banger. Obviously then off against Elite Joe and Jägermeister up next. But two very, very friendly and you've got to say mature people.
Yeah, absolutely. And very sporting as well, David. I absolutely love that one. The little handshake between the two of them, wishing each other the best of luck going into the race. I really do like that one. It's competitive, but it's also... there's a human element, a human story there as well from the drivers, isn't there? Really, really good behaviour. For now, anyway, until we go racing.
We'll give it half an hour and
yeah,
we'll see
exactly.
how it progresses. But again, best of three coming up here, and both of the drivers looking very chilled, very relaxed ahead of this first race. But I think for the other six, they're going to be watching very intently, especially for Elite Joe and Jägermeister, because this is potentially who they're going to be up next, Paul.
I think you've made a really good point there, David, actually. I often wonder this in take-it-in-turn style competitions. Are you better to go up there once, first, straight away, get it over and done with? Or do you want to be the one that's watching everybody else and seeing what you can learn, but building the own pressure and anticipation for your own race at the same time? Interesting how the mentality of the drivers is going to apply to that one and whether that's going to work for or against them in their mindset coming into this race. And well, we'll only know the answer to that one, David, when we wave the checkered flag on the grand final later on.
See, unfortunately, I'm a very devious person, and if that was me taking part in the final, I'd be having little words in their ear, you know, oh, you're using a double tap there, oh, I wouldn't be doing that, try to throw them off their game, but yeah, I don't think there's going to be any of that going on for today. But again, you know, we've got to find out what environment we're going to be racing in, what map we're going to be on for these first couple of races here. And again, that indecision, that sort of not knowing for the drivers, like we heard from Future Flash, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you've not done the practice, it's all for nothing.
Absolutely, and we all know in any sport, whether it's real or virtual, whether it's on a mobile device or on a simulation rig, Practice is one thing, but in the heat of battle, often the plan of attack gets thrown straight out of the window. What I absolutely love about Asphalt Legends Unite is there are multiple ways to get to the checkered flag. There's not one set course. It's not a 3.4 mile lap of Donington Park, for example. You can go one of a multitude of different ways. What I'm interested to know, David, is there a set plan? I'm going to do this, I'm going to go there, or does it all depend on what's happening in front of you and where your rival is? And I think that's a really interesting little aspect of the software that I'm looking forward to exploring over the course of today.
Yeah, two completely different plans to do. You've got pre-planned, as you said, and then you've got reactionary game style. So pre-planned is where you've, like you said, you've got that well thought out, you're going to do this, then this, then this, then this. And reactionary is when you are reacting and doing things because of that other car. So if you've got a bit of a lead, you're maybe going to drive a little bit more cautiously than you would say, like last year, where we saw that absolute Hail Mary bridge jump from nowhere. One of the most spectacular moves of the entire finals, coming from behind and taking the race win. Moments like that can absolutely make you a hero, but it's risk versus reward. How big do you want to go for it?
Yep, absolutely beautiful stuff. So, David, thank you very much for that one. Now, I have your attention, audience. I've got something to tell you that'll be very interesting. We've got giveaway codes coming your way. Over the course of the broadcast, keep your eyes peeled for this one, and you can redeem for various items within Asphalt Legends Unite. So, on our screen is where the code is now. You can see it in the bottom corner. Which way is it? There we go. Just down there. Make sure you get that one keyed in and you can get yourself a reward within the game. Keep your eye out over the course of the broadcast for these things popping up, and there will be opportunities for you to, at home, to redeem these and get some goodies to enjoy within the title. So, again, code down there. Get it put in and see if you can redeem yourself something for Asphalt Legends Unite. Good opportunity, David, for our audience, isn't it, to get involved and, as well as enjoying a great broadcast and seeing some wonderful talent on track, to also uplift their gaming experience at home as well.
Yeah, I could hear the audience clamouring for those codes in chat just a little bit ago. So hopefully that keeps them satisfied through the course of the broadcast. There's always tons and tons of goodies and loot dropped through the course of the broadcast. So as we say, keep an eye on those codes, get them fired into the game and get them collected. Now, obviously the professionals that we are, we don't have our mobiles to hand here, so I can't go and redeem them. However, I have screenshotted it, and I was
trying to do it, but I was in.
Cheers. I wasn't here, but yeah. Well, I've screenshotted it, so I'll be entering that one once we're done on that. But again, it's the whole sort of build-up, isn't it, Paul? This is the first time for us to be able to observe how they compete as well. Is the fact that, like with the sim racers that we see in the traditional race, they'll move their body. We see the tablets getting moved as well and getting tilted and rotated, and it's that whole thing of it doesn't matter what sort of racing you're doing, your body makes it real.
Yeah, you get involved in it, you get immersed into it, and that, especially when you're racing at this kind of level, because let's just say this again. We've said it before, but let's say it again. There are over 1.3 million players of this title. Okay, not all 1.3 have entered this competition, of course not. But of all those players, we've whittled it down to 8. These chaps over there, just over my shoulder, you can see them there, are the best of the best of the best on this platform. They've got to practice, they've got to be involved, and to be good at something, David, you have to immerse yourself wholeheartedly, heart, body and soul, into other tasks that you're doing. And that's what I love to see. We've got some interesting camera angles to bring to you over the course of the races where you can see the drivers in action, and it's really interesting to see that one for me as well, as you say, how just immersed in the world that they get, even with all the distractions and the lights and the cameras around them. It's just focus on the screen and the task in hand. Love that.
I'm loving the practice going on from the forward at the back. We've got 2 stone cold killers up front. They're just chilling. They're absolutely fine right now. But again, a lot of practice going on, and that's exactly what it has to be about. You have to bring your A game to an event like this. You have to be ready, and you have to be absolutely ready to go when it's crunch time, and that will be very, very soon. And chat, I see you. They're
So thank you very kindly indeed for being a part of this show with David Christie and myself, Paul Jeffrey, today. I promise you, this is going to be a spectacular start to the day. We're getting ready, we're almost there in the first race in action. And David, I want to cycle back to something that you said a few moments ago about how quick-fire, once we get going, how quick-fire these things are. That's another aspect that I really think is worth reiterating to anybody that's perhaps coming in to this competition for the first time, doesn't know much about the world of Asphalt Legends Unite. 3 racers, best of 3, really, really fast action, no time for the drivers to sit back and digest what's just unfolded. It's boom, 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 and away we go. That requires a very special skill set, doesn't it? Where you can just be reactionary to what's happening, but then adjust your performance and adjust the way that you approach it accordingly to maximise the result. And I really find that fascinating, David, for me, because I can't do it. I am take time for it to sink in, have a little walk, freshen my hair. But these guys, straight into it. I think that's really impressive to me.
I think it's the consistency as well that they're able to reproduce these runs on, time and time again. The great thing about Asphalt Legends Unite is the fact that it's one of those very, very, every single run you do is almost certainly going to be different. You're almost certainly going to have like tiny little differences in each one of your runs, and yet these drivers here are very, very capable of reproducing runs time in, time out again. The problem is when you get more than one driver able to, there's only one bit of the track that they can have at the same time, so they're both fighting for that ideal line. And if you've not got the ideal line, how are you going to make up for that? That's what we get to watch in these competitions in real time through the warm-up stages, through the qualification stages, and then here at the finals as well.
Oh, absolutely love it. We have got all the ingredients for a wonderful time indeed. We're not many moments away, so please do bear with us. We'll be going racing in a very, very short time. But David, good opportunity while we've got a bit of downtime to talk about the actual software itself. So anybody who's a student will recognise the name Asphalt Legends Unite. Unite's the big bit. Why have they got Unite in there? Why is it called this? Why is it branded like this nowadays? It's because they're bringing all the different platforms together. iOS, Android, Windows, gaming consoles, all together, all playing on the same platform in the same race. Because last year, David, we had different finalist brackets for different platforms. This year, no matter what device you're on, you can participate in the same event.
Something like that. Literally any device is able to play this game. And obviously from competition, brilliant. Great to see that we have everybody getting brought together. But for the game itself as well, massively expanding that user base, being able to bring everybody in. And now, like you said, literally anybody can take part in this championship. Anybody can take part in this race.
Yeah, it's super impressive. And of course, there's been graphics updates as well, so the game is looking better than it's ever looked before. But it's a not insubstantial technical challenge to bring all these different platforms together, working at the same time, in sync with each other. And again, I'm fascinated to see why drivers choose a particular platform on which to use. What is the choice behind that one? Why are they more comfortable using, let's say, a phone or a tablet rather than a Windows PC device? All these different things, and putting the drivers in their comfort zone with what they're happy with and how they're happy and used to responding and behaving on the platform. I always find these things fascinating as well, because I come from a sim racing world where traditionally you're in a rig, and then it just depends on what sim that you're going to race. Here you've got multiple ways to access the content, and I find that a very interesting how drivers decide which way they want to go with it and why they decide that as well. It's the mental side of things, isn't it? It's what you're comfortable and happy with as a driver to perform at your best.
Yeah, because when you think about it, performance and personal preference have a huge thing to play in it. You want to be on a device that can get the absolute most out of the game. You want to be on a device that feels comfortable in your hands and that you can perform the absolute best. Maybe the anti-glare coating on a screen might not be the best to kind of use on your thumbs and things like that as well. So again, there's so many different variables with this, but ultimately, the key thing with all of this is that I don't think it really matters. I don't think now that, we come from a background of the more sweaty side of sim racing where, they pay thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds for equipment and it's all taken very seriously and they sit in the rigs and things like that. And then we come down to mobile, where there's infinitely more fun, infinitely more enjoyability, and it's all about just whatever works for you. And that's what I absolutely love about this so much, is the fact that whether you're on an iPhone, whether you're on an Android device, or whether you're on your laptop or tablet or whatever, it's about just enjoying the game.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that. Enjoyment, David. I think you hit the nail on the head with a big hold hammer. Enjoyment. It's about having fun, engaging, enjoying the game, enjoying racing and playing with other people, building relationships. And then, of course, there's the esports side, which we're on now, where you build a relationship until you go racing, then the relationship gets thrown away. But really do. I do love this. I'm very, very, very excited. I apologise again for the slight delay. We will be racing in a few moments' time, I absolutely promise you. And I think it'll be worth it. I think it's going to be quite interesting. Again, referring back to my more relevant experience that I've had in the esports sim racing side of things. Finals day tends to be a bit nervy when it comes to racing, and often you'll find people tempering their performance a little bit, not wanting to take too many risks. Risk is all you've got in this one. It is all about risk. You've got to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. So any kind of the nervousness that we maybe see in other competitions, in Asphalt Legends Unite, we're not going to see any of that one at all, are we, David? It's going to be go, go, go. It's a very short race. There's only 3 of them, best of, maximum of 3. Got no room for caution. It is absolutely full barnstorming from the off.
Even more so in the likes of this first bracket race. Let's add a little bit of context to this. You've got Future Flash, who is last year's iOS champion, against RPM Alex, who wasn't in the championship last year. So you've got the champion versus the newcomer here. And for Alex, he needs to absolutely go for it right from the get-go here. So he needs to pull off a absolute giant killing in the making to make this work. I mean, that is like such a high bar to set for yourself, and it's more than possible because of this even platform. But Paul, I'm hearing that you might have some very, very good news for us and our viewers.
Yes, those wonderful words have been whispered in my ears. We are ready to go racing. So folks, do not go anywhere, do not adjust your television sets, do not go for a refreshing beverage, because it's time to hit the virtual trikes and see who is going to be our first victor of the day. Let's remind ourselves again, Future Flash versus RPM Alex. It's a best of 3 quarter-final race number 1, bracket number 1. So without further ado, let's go to the trike and see what our drivers can produce.
Excellent stuff. So let's see where we are going then. So let's get racing then, and immediately we are underway. You can see Alex into second place there. Future Flash already with the double jumps there. Some decent nitro management going on to begin with, and that is a fairly sizable little gap there of about a second for Future Flash in the lead there. You can see Future Flash on the left hand side and RPM Alex on the right hand side here. So it does look like we go past the Coliseum here. And again, as we go through the jumps, going over a much, much healthier nitro bar there. Double tap there from Future Flash on the left-hand side there. And again, it's all about holding on to the nitro as much as you can here. But RPM and Alex falling back quite considerably here. The question is, how do you gain that momentum back? It's going to have to be an accident for Future Flash on that left-hand side. Big build up at the bar there, almost decided to go with Shockwave, goes for the double tap instead. And again, that gap up to about 2 seconds right now is starting to close a little bit though from Alex on that right hand side. Does the barrel roll over and that air trick on the right hand side to come up to the huge jump there, double jump over the bridge, goes underneath there. But again, it's absolutely flawless run. Double 360, triple 360 there on the left-hand side for Future Flash, and he is away with this one right now. It's been a flawless display from Future Flash on the left-hand side there. Again, fills up that nitro bar right to the top, decides to pull off the Shockwave right towards the end there, possibly want to get this one sealed and into the bag, and this is an epic display. This is exactly showing what it's all about there. Shockwaves deployed from both drivers on the side there, and again, you could see that Alex does have these moments where he does bring that gap back just a little bit there, but it does look like this first race is going to be going the way of Future Flash right now. Another Shockwave gets pulled off through that jump, barrel rolls through the air, 360 as well, and this one looks to be in the bag so far. You can see the fireworks going off the background, over the line, barrel roll in style, and that is indeed Future Flash taking that first race by a second.
That was a beautiful performance there from Future Flash. Got the early advantage, kept it nice and clean. Interesting to see that RPM Alex using different routes as well to try and narrow down that gap between himself and his rival. But it just wasn't enough, David, as you say. No mistakes, a clean start, very intelligent use of all of the nitro. And that was deeply impressive, actually. For a first throw of the dice in the first race of the day, that's quite the commanding performance from Future Flash.
Yeah, that's absolutely setting the mark on the ground there from Future Flash. And again, Alex definitely not out of it yet. Best of three, he's going to have to pull the socks up and get going there. But we were seeing there, you know, the top speed a little bit down on that Terrario. The other thing with that is, like I said, it's that exit speed from the corner where the Lamborghini really pulls out. That Temerario has one of the best exit speeds and accelerations in the game. That's where they need to really make amends here. But you could see that one right from the get-go within the first 10 seconds of that first race there. Future Flash pulling out the gap. And when you're in that position, Paul, it's so difficult. Unless Future Flash is going to make a mistake there, it's so difficult to pull that gap back.
And that's the problem, isn't it? When you're already on the back foot, when you're in second position, it's such a short race. You've got to take those chances. You've got to throw caution to the wind, roll the dice a little bit. And sometimes that works. We saw that last year. Sometimes that works really well. But often, when you're going outside of the norm, when you're doing something different to what you would normally do, and it doesn't always pay off. And I think we saw a couple of things from Alex there where he tried very hard to go for a different route or use a different deployment strategy for the Nitros. Just didn't work on this occasion. But David, he's going to have learned something. We're going to be going straight into the second race in a few moments' time. And it's interesting to take away those learnings. He's seen his rival with his eyes in a live environment. Is he going to be able to change and tweak the way that he goes about this second race? He has to do something, does RPM Alex. If he doesn't win this one, that's his quarterfinals over and done with.
100%, and we can see here the race about to get underway. It's all about this second go then. So there we go, down in bottom right, you can see RPM Alex, and we're straight into physical contact. I was about to say, I wondered if that was going to be on the go today. I mean, that might be a bit of a Hail Mary, but we're much closer here. Bottom right, you can see RPM Alex. Top left, you can see Future Flash here in the Temerario. Both of them taking different plays through that split as we go through the right-hand side for Future Flash there. But again, it's still just slightly lead. This is much closer this time than we saw before. That physical aggression there from Alex possibly going to be the difference in these two races. But again, just that better micromanagement through with the stunts, through with the air drifts as well. The way he's bouncing that car along here, that was a big moment there for Future Flash. And again, loses a little bit of time there. So now we're starting to see a little bit of that momentum coming back towards Alex at the moment. But again, it's going to be anybody's guess on this for the moment because we're on lap 1 out of 2. And the thing is, as well, Paul, is with the way that he's been going here, they cross that line. Alex, I think that was his only shot. That physical aggression right at the start is the only way he was going to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's the problem, RPM. Alex now has absolutely got his back to the wall. Let's see what he can do, though, in the final few moments of this race. It's a big gap between the two of them. Future Flash holding out at the front of the field. Looking at RPM Alex now using the Nitros to his advantage. He was very close in the first few corners, David, but it's just all falling away from him. He's going to try and use the barrel roll. That's going to give him a little bit more power, but on this occasion, I do think he's going to be something special. Try and close that gap up, and we are vastly short of time.
Yeah, and one of the things, of course, that physical contact right at the start there, it's a bit of a gentleman's agreement that they're not really going to try and crash each other out there, but I think desperation, it kind of got the better of RPM Alex there, and unfortunately it does look like it's kind of done him over here because Future Flash just absolutely nailing every double jump and barrel roll, and there we go, across the line. That is going to be that. RPM Alex actually even further behind in that second race there. And, well, smiles all round there for Future Flash. But again, that start to that second race there, Paul, that was absolute unbridled aggression there.
Yep, absolutely. We thought it was going to be a much closer encounter second time around, but as you say, a little bit of early contact, a little bit of controversy, it has to be said, to start the race, but it was Future Flash who absolutely had everything in the bag. It looked under control after that particular instance. Some good strategic use of the Nitro, some clean driving as he get around the circuit. A thumbs up as well, there we go. That means a lot. That's it's nice, isn't it, to tick the first one off in the box, just to know exactly what it is that you're coming up against. And I think Future Flash will be very, very satisfied indeed. The driver from Greece, come all the way over here to Spain to compete. And yes, a little bit despondent there, it has to be said, David. But sometimes this is how these things go, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, you know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's such a naive cliche. But, well, listen, Paul, safe to say, chat are a little bit mixed on that result. They weren't too impressed with that start on the second race there. But I don't think you're ever going to keep the Asphalt community 100% down the same line on that. But I think they did enjoy that race.
Yeah, it was a brilliant race, and it's the first of many that we've got going today. So don't go anywhere, because we're going to head to the shortest break you've ever seen, just while we get our next set of drivers set up. So do not go anywhere. We're going to stay on air, but we're going to head for a short break before we have bracket number 2. to the Lamborghini Temerario Esports Challenge in Asphalt Legends Unite. My name's Paul Jeffrey. Next to me is David Christie, and we are glad to welcome you back. We've had a first race, David. A bit dramatic, a little bit of controversy. Not a bad way to start the day, eh? My apologies, we're just waiting for a little bit of an audio issue, so we'll have David Christie back with you in a moment. Give me a thumbs up when you're back to go, David. And as I say, we've had our first bracket race already, Future Flash versus RPM Alex, and it was a double win for Future Flash, so a great start to the competition for that driver. Next up is going to be Elite Joe versus Jägermeister, so the Mexican driver versus the Polish driver. And David, hopefully you're back with us now. Thoughts and comments on that opening race? Oh, in fact, I apologise, David's not with us just yet, so I'll come back to that one and whisper in my ear. But for you good folks at home, thank you for staying with us over the break. Unfortunately, I've not got the feed up on my laptop, so I can't see the comments that you put it in. But I hope so much that you're enjoying our broadcast today, and hopefully you're enjoying this race. In fact, I'm hearing David's back. Hello, David, welcome back.
I was panicking there because I didn't do anything. just sitting there by myself like, hello, guys. Listen, it's normally 45 minutes into the broadcast when I have to get muted anyway, so it's a little bit early. But listen, what a great first race we had. Future Flash versus Alex. We could see some of the sort of psychology coming into that one there. Chat agreeing with that there about that early contact did kind of scupper Alex on that one. Listen, if it was me, I'd be trying to send him into the canal on that one. But again, looking forward to this next race. What a banger we've got coming up here. Elite Joe versus Jägermeister, and I think it's going to be San Francisco that they're going to be on as well. So again, I'm so intrigued as to how this one is going to play out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what's wonderful, isn't it? There's so many different maps, so many different experiences, and the drivers have got a lot to contend with. We often see different in esport competitions, in racing esport competitions, where we're on a traditional race circuit. If you're taking it in turns to have your go, you can see what the driver did before, see if there's something to learn from, etc, etc. Here we're going to be mixing things up all the time, so it's really, there's no time for the drivers to rest or to analyse. It's just get in there, rely on the skills and the training and the experience that you've got coming into this one, and just see who wins out at the end. And I really like this. It's very, very interesting, and hopefully for Elite Joe and Jägermeister, that are coming up in a few moments' time, they've done their research.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to see here, and this is where it all comes crashing down, basically, if you haven't done it. Future Flash said it in his interview. It's literally all about the practice on this one. It's literally all about all the practice that you can do, all of the warm-up and preparation that you can do ahead of this. But while we go full screen, that means that we are about to have some driver interviews very, very shortly. Paul Jeffrey over there in the arena, away to have a little chat with some of the drivers. That'll go to be Elite Joe and Jägermeister. Paul, over to yourself.
Thank you very much, David. Right then, it is time for bracket number 2. So the first driver that I'm going to welcome up to the caster desk with me would be Elite Joe from Mexico. Come on through, Elite Joe. Hello. So, Joe, could you tell us your name, please?
Yeah, my name is Elite Joe, Joel Alejandro Cáceres Hernandez. Yeah.
And how old are you?
How old are you? 24 years.
24 years old, race at this level. Now, Joe doesn't have much English, so we're going to leave the questions at that one for now. But if you can stay here, and could I ask Jägermeister to come up to the stage, please, sir? So if you could come into the middle here. Hello, good to see you. So, just quickly, if you could introduce yourself to our audience at home, please.
My name is Miłosz, but I'm known as a Jägermeister. I come from Poland. I've turned 23 this year, and I'm very excited to partake in this tournament.
Fantastic stuff. You have to put these things close to your mouth to peek through. So, we're here at an esports competition, and we always talk about the competition, but I want to talk about you. So, what do you do for a living? What does life look like for you at home?
I am currently a student, and that's basically all I do, really. I just study and play games. That's all I do, really.
And what got you into racing in Asphalt Legends Unite and mobile gaming in general?
Since I was a kid, I was always into motorsports, and my family members were playing racing games, and that's what hooked me up into it. I never really thought I'm gonna be really good at them, but it's always been my hobby.
And it's really cool to be here at a Reth, isn't it? It's really cool to be in a racing paddock and to be racing in a competition of this level. What does it mean to you to be here and doing something like this on the world stage?
To me, it's a one-off experience, since I'm a very fortunate person to be one of among 7 another very talented people who had put blood, sweat, and tears into this tournament. So, without I can't really say much to it. I'm just really happy to be here today.
Well, I can say for us all, we're really happy to have you with us. So, gentlemen, if you could go, please, to your stations, the very best of luck to you both. And David, while our drivers are getting ready, I'll hand back over to you and we'll go racing again for the second time today.
Thanks very much, Paul. We are off, ladies and gentlemen, to the streets of San Francisco here in Asphalt for the 2024 Lamborghini Temerario Challenge Esports. And really, what can we expect from this one? Elite Joe versus Jägermeister. Now, on paper, these two have met last year. We had Elite Joe coming 4th in the iOS Revelto Challenge, and then we had Jägermeister coming 2nd in that Android Challenge as well. So on paper, maybe Jaeger's got the kind of upper hand on that. I don't think there's too much that you can take from that. Again, off to the streets of San Francisco here. I think top speed is going to be the kind of downfall of this just now. They're going to have to keep on top of the nitro, going to have to keep the stunts going to keep that bar filled up here. But let's go racing, Paul.
Yes, here we go then, and we're off already, so it's been a very early start. That is a great start indeed. In fact, San Francisco, as we say, top speed is going to be your friend. You've got to use the nitros in the right way. You've got to use the tricks in the right way. A little bit of a kiss as well there, but I've just about got away with this one, David. It's much closer on the second time I'm asking.
Yeah, Elite Joe getting caught out there by some of the traffic there, trying to do the 360 there, and it's a big gap now. You've got to second place. I say big, it's literally like about half a second right now. We go through the jump over onto the pier section then. This is basically going anti-clockwise then through the left-hander. That would normally be a right-hander here, straight through into the bar, and that is going to be a big mistake there. That is going to be a costly mistake there. Mistimed the double jump straight into the Bridgestone hoarding there.
Yeah, that is an absolute. These are the kind of mistakes at this level that when people make them, it's so difficult to recover from that one. Luckily, I think we're still on straight and narrow. The cars are on 2 very different routes at this moment in time, so we don't see each other on the same part of the racetrack. It is all about when they converge a little bit later on. You can see, though, that is a significant gap. Jägermeister a good few seconds back now, so Elite Joe is the driver with the advantage. A small mistake, though, is never far away. It can also go very wrong indeed. You've got to be strategic. You've got to do the tricks. You've got to do the barrel rolls. You've got to do the 360s and the drifting. Use the nitros in the best way possible. And I do think at this moment in time, Elite Joe is looking comfortable. Look how calm he is, David, on his device there, just focused on the job in hand. He knows he's got a great opportunity.
Yeah, looking at the minimap, this is almost done unless there's a mistake from the car in front there. This one is absolutely over there. And of course, this is the thing. You see the cars bouncing about the physics in this game here from one side of the map to the other here. And 99 times out of 100, it'll work absolutely flawless there. You've got to say, though, what a spirited comeback here from Jägermeister. Yeah. It's not quite going to be enough here. But there we go. That is going to be it. Job done. And that is going to be a really decent race there for Elite Joe.
Yeah, that was really good, but I will say, and you're absolutely right, you nailed that one on the head again, David. The comeback from Jägermeister was significant. I didn't see the gap in terms of seconds, but in terms of looking at the real estate on the racetrack, that was a big close-up from Jägermeister. So I do think this is absolutely anybody's game into the second of these best-of-3 races. Remember, Jägermeister needs to win this next race, otherwise his day is done. Elite Joe, he's still got another opportunity. If he doesn't win this one, he can do it at the third and final one. But that was very intense, very quick races. Difficult to pick out who's got the pace there, but that mistake, David, it's so easy to collect the trackside furniture, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and just one mistimed little input onto the screen, and that's it. It's done. We saw how much damage that did, Paul, to the rest of the race. There's no coming back from that. It doesn't matter how good you are. You just have to hope for a mistake from your opponent, which at this stage, very unlikely to happen. However, what I would say up until that point, I wouldn't write off Jägermeister just yet. I think the second race is going to be very, very interesting indeed. But here we go, ready on the track then for the second race here. And there goes Elite Joe on the right hand side there. So Elite Joe in the purple and Jägermeister in the green car there, doing the 360 and immediately taking to the lead here. So you can see Jägermeister on the left hand side, Elite Joe on the right. A little bit of a smoother start for Elite Joe there, but they both decide to take to the rooftops before jumping down as well. So it's still about 2 car lengths of a gap for Jägermeister. This is exactly what he needed to do. But you get the feeling here, Paul, that Elite Joe, that how close he is behind with that car. He's just poised. He's waiting for something to happen here.
Exactly, looking for the opportunity if it presents itself. Desperately want to avoid contact with each other, of course. That's going to hold you up. And also, he's not the gentlemanly conduct. And there is going to be the move. That is the move. Absolutely beautiful in the air. A little bit of a pirouette as well. And that is a new racing. Oh, no. Oh, that is an absolute disaster. Can you believe it?
Was that mid-air contact? I'm fairly sure that was Elite Joe with a shockwave that wrecked the car mid-air. It might be my old eyes deceiving me here, Paul, but that was unbelievable. If that was physical contact, I think there'll be a few shaking heads at that one. But again, when you're trying to share the same part of the track there, and again, with the fact that that car's wrecked, respawns at several seconds back, it's all but over right now.
And that is the problem. They were so close together, weren't they? We saw a little bit of contact off of the start line while they're doing the 360s, a little bit of contact between the two of them, just by virtue of the fact they're in the same piece of real estate as each other. But as you say, not quite sure exactly what went down there. It did look a little bit like we'd gone for the sort of shockwave nitro and that wrote the car off. But again, for Elite Joe, over and done with. The good thing is he has got another race to recover one. This is going to be a victory clearly for Jägermeister unless something very dramatic happens. But my goodness me, we wanted some controversy, David. You said the inner child in you likes a little bit of needle. Well, there's some needle for you.
Yeah, and the thing is, as much as I want to believe that was an amazingly skilled, aggressive takedown, sometimes in mid-air these things can be absolutely unpredictable there, and I think that's literally what's happened here. But again, we saw that in race 2, you know, right at the start. That absolutely happened there. So again, we'll wait and see. Yeah. But wow, oh, that was stuff. What do we say to that? That was mega.
Yeah, that was excellent. Unfortunate because the race was so close up to that point. That was just as we saw the overtake as well. So Elite Joe had just got into that lead. He was playing it cautious, wasn't he? He was just following Jägermeister for a few moments just to understand where the safest place to make the move is. And then, unfortunately, it all went wrong indeed. And look at that one. That's a man with a pensive, concentrated, and ever so slightly frustrated, I think it's fair to say, mindset at this stage.
Yeah, it really is. And the thing is at this early stage of the finals here, the quarterfinals, this is it. It's do or die for both of these drivers right now. There's no afters for this. At least there's a lower bracket in the semis, but for this, you're done for the day after this one. So Jaeger and Elite really need to bring their absolute A game to this third and final race. I'll be honest, I'm loving every single moment of this, because the first one was kind of done and dusted it in 2, but the fact that this comes down to the third and final race here, yeah, I think this is going to get very, very spicy very quickly as well. We saw Jaeger doing that 360 right at the start of that second race there. That got him out into the front. But it was the shockwave management and the timing of that shockwave from Elite Joe that powered him through in front. And then they were mid-air, and it just seemed to be that through that shockwave, absolutely destroyed there from Jägermeister. Yeah, it's a real shame to see it go down that way. Interesting tactic though, doing the 360 right off the start and a little bit of contact between the two, but that kind of buys you the room that you need to get away from the line. So that's curious to see if that's going to be repeated. Speaking of repeated, third and final race. Winner takes all, and that is a good start from both drivers. Neck and neck, Jägermeister in the green car, Elite Joe in the purple machine. Contact between the two of them as well. A little bit of a rubbing in the back quarter from Elite Joe, but that one's backfired, if anything, because Joe now is a little bit further back. Jägermeister has the early advantage. 360 mid-air spins, build up that nitro, get some turbo wherever you possibly can. It's all about making no mistakes. David Christian Jägermeister is the man with the advantage thus far, but only just. Absolutely, but there we go, almost lands on top of them. Big moment, and that is Jaeger wiped out from Elite Joe. That could be it. That could have decided the final race right now. Unbelievable stuff. Listen, we saw the two of them getting ultra aggressive very early on here, and you just knew this was going to be a messy third and final round. But that knockdown there, that means that Elite Joe jumps up into the lead there. Again, it's not undoable, but it's sure as hell close right now. As you see, Jägermeister, Jaeger's done it again. That's it. Jaeger has knocked himself off again, and that is now what, about an 8-second gap between the two of them here, Paul. Again, this is where the frustration comes in. This is where you're pushing so hard here. I know exactly what that feels like here. This is where sort of things get thrown in anger and in frustration here, because it just feels like everything's conspiring against you. It feels like everything is going against you at this moment in time.
Yeah, completely agree with you. You can see on Jägermeister's expression, he knows that it's all gone wrong. He knows that this is now absolutely over. It's just enjoying the atmosphere and the moments for the last few seconds of his participation in these quarterfinals. It was a controversial pass, it was a controversial bit of contact. Once again, but Elite Joe is the man that leads the field. He's just got an opportunity now to try and minimise any mistakes. And oh, there's another one. When it goes wrong for Jägermeister, writes the car off again. And unfortunately, I do think that sometimes when the cookie doesn't crumble your way, it just doesn't crumble your way.
Yeah, I think Jägermeister was just having a bit of fun there, stringing a couple of double jumps together there. But we can't let anything take away from this man's moment just now. Elite Joe moves on to the semi-finals. He's looking decidedly happy. I tell you what, Paul, I would love to be a fly on the wall on that one, because that's one of the most aggressive races or series that we've seen from the two of them there. Oh my goodness me.
We wanted a bit of controversy, we wanted a bit of drama, but there's still a handshake and a hug between the two. I love that one. Well done, chaps. Still showing there's no animosity, and it's all's fair in love and war. I dare say when they're not on camera, they may be not quite so friendly on that one. But David, we did say there's a gentleman's agreement not to make contact with each other in these kind of things, not do any takedowns, and both of those incidents in the first and the third race, difficult to make a snap judgment at this kind of pace, but they were certainly spicy.
Yeah, spicy is definitely the word there. And like I said, I think that's the first of the Christmas cards that's going to be altered on that one. Listen, the reason that they go against the contact is because it's so unpredictable. It's either going to go for you or go against you. It's one of those things. Jägermeister, he decided to roll the dice, and unfortunately they didn't go in his favour today, Paul.
Yep, these things happen. So, there we go then. That is quarterfinal number 2 over and done with.
There we go.
Oh, sorry, David. So, before further ado, let's take a short break and we'll come back very, very shortly indeed. Hello everybody, welcome back here to the Lamborghini Temerario Esports Challenge. Nearly got that wrong then. My name's Paul Jeffrey, alongside me David Christie, and we're about to go into bracket number 3 of these quarterfinals. David, the first 2 races have been very different affairs indeed, it has to be said, and we've already seen our fair share of controversy.
Amazing action coming up. We're a quarter of the way through the day already, and then we've now got Mayon versus Sukti, and a lot of history with these two as well. You know, we've got Mayon who won the Android Challenge last year, and then we've got Sukti who came 4th in that same category, so they know each other. They've raced against each other before here, and again on paper you have to think that Mayon has the upper hand, but we've seen that counts for absolutely nothing through the course of the day so far.
And I think that's what makes these competitions so wonderful. You're absolutely right. Form book is great. Form and skill get you to this point, but then a lot of it is down to what happens on the day. Nobody would have expected Jägermeister to have wrecked so many times in the previous race. He's such a good driver. With the heat of the moment, trying to do something to push yourself to beat your rival. These mistakes are so very possible, David, and minimising that one, it's not like a sim race where you've got a 1-hour event. It's about a minute this lasts. You make a mistake, there's no time to recover, is there?
100%, and it's what makes it so enjoyable for us to watch and for us to commentate on as well. We had a chat with Marv off air just a couple of days ago and on the lead up to this, and getting some information about the game and his thoughts and feelings ahead of the championship. And you know, it's the same as it was in Asphalt 9. It's like if you wreck, then you are really done for. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult to come back from that with this stage of and this talent of drivers that we've got there. So again, you have to keep it clean, you have to keep it consistent. And ironically, apart from that last race there, the contacts that we saw, they didn't really have too much of an impact on things. But again, the mid-air takedown, I think that's going to set the precedent for potentially some of the aggression now.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. That's what the drivers have seen now. They've seen that kind of behaviour. They recognise that there is potential for these things to happen. It's going to be interesting to see how that impacts the rest of the race. But David, coming to this, why don't you say Mayon and Sukti are racing, 2 drivers that we know very well from previous competitions. This is a very high level of skill that we've got going on here. This one's going to be an absolute classic, I'm certain.
And as you said, you know, they're facing off against each other in person now, unlike last year where they were doing it all remotely as well. And with it being cross-play now, they can hold on to their existing devices. But I can see some movement behind you, so I'm pretty sure that, Paul, you're going to be very shortly going off to chat with some of the drivers here. And I'd be very interested to hear what Sukti and Mayon have got to say, especially coming over from last year. What are the differences as we go into Unite and this brand new Lamborghini Temerario, what they thought or what they think of the car, how they make up for the differences with that car as well. But as we said, we'll be cutting over to Paul Jeffrey very shortly. As I said, very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the stream. We're loving seeing everything that you've got in chat. Keep it all coming, who you're supporting, who you're not supporting. But Paul, over to you with the interviews.
Thank you very much, David. And it's now time for bracket number 3 of our quarter-final in this competition. The first driver I'd like to welcome, if I may, is Sukti. Welcome. How are you? Good. So, we're looking into this camera, and I'd like to know a little bit about yourself. So, could you tell me your name, your age, and where you come from, please?
Hello, I'm Daniel, also known as Sukti in Asphalt 9, and I am 21 years old and I'm coming from Germany.
So it's wonderful to have you here in Spain. Now, obviously we're in an esports competition, but I want to get to know you. So can you tell me a little bit about your life, how you got into this kind of thing, what it is that you do at home? What does a day in the life of Daniel look like?
So I have always been playing games since I was a little kid, and right now I'm currently studying at a university, and I started playing the game 2020 and got into my first competition 8 months later. So it was kind of talent, I would say, that I got into esports that fast, but after like 3 years I'm still here and I'm still trying to win the title.
Well, it's absolutely wonderful to have you with us. I hope you don't play the games when you're in the university lectures.
Nah, not really.
Good answer, the correct answer on television. Thank you very much. And now I would like to welcome to the stage Mayon. Welcome. How are you? Good. So, please, if you can introduce yourself, let us know where you're from, your name and your age.
Hello, my name is Kim Woo-jin, and I am 18 years old, and I live in South Korea.
18 years old and you're over here in Jerez. Tell me, have you ever been to Spain, to Jerez before? Have you ever raced in a competition, a LAN event such as this one?
I have been to Spain in 2023, and this is my 6th competition, I think. Yeah.
So, it's always interesting to race against other people in an arena environment. How have you found it meeting your fellow competitors in person to race against this weekend?
Great. Yeah.
A short and sweet answer. I like that one. Well, gentlemen, I'm looking forward to seeing you racing. If you could please head to your stations, and very good luck to you both. David, that's our next 2 drivers, and I will hand back over to you, sir, before we go racing.
Awesome, short and sweet indeed. So we are ready to go for our 3rd quarterfinal of the day. Remember, this is it. There's no coming back for anybody that gets beaten at this stage. They are eliminated from the competition. Then we'll move on to the semis. We've got a lower bracket as well, and then we move on to the final as well. So while Paul gets his headset on, as we said, keep an eye out for the codes that are going to be down on the bottom left, I think, down here. They'll be getting posted, but also they'll be getting posted through in chat as well. So keep the eye on the chat, pop them in the game, and you can redeem them for yourself. Right, Paul, welcome back. 3rd race of the day. We are moments away from getting racing here.
I cannot wait. This is going to be fabulous. This is our 3rd encounter of the day. This is the quarterfinals of the Lamborghini Temerario Esports Challenge on the wonderful Asphalt Legends Unite game. And here we go. We're already off. Mayon has the early lead. A little bit of contact between the 2 of them, though. That is not optimal for Sukti, the German driver, trying desperately to come back now, David. Early contact, early doors. That seems to be the strategy that we've seen all the way through. And Mayon is our leader.
Oh, unbelievable start. We saw how important these starts can be earlier on, but there we go, through the right-hander, and that's going to be a wreck already. So trying to come back from behind, and that is going to be absolutely done and dusted. In fact, I think that might have been down to the connection issues there, so we'll figure out exactly what that is. That might have been just the spectator camera on that one, but we'll figure out. We can see Mayon still absolutely engrossed in his game anyway. He's still racing away right now. But again, the nitro management and that start was so important there for Mayon to be able to do that. And Sukti just wasn't able to hold on to that. The thing with that is that obviously we're using a public game and using public servers, so unfortunately these connectivity issues can and do happen here, Paul.
But I must say, I did love the screen when we were over the shoulder of Mayon. Look at him, look at the dexterity of the fingers and how much movement and how much strategy and how much you really got to be in. It's not just I'm a little bit older than many of the people that are racing here today. So my mobile gaming experience is 1 button for up, 1 button for down, 1 for left, 1 for right, and very, very basic stuff. It's fascinating to see just how much is involved. And again, when we spoke to Marf a couple of days ago offline, he was saying just the mechanics of this title now are getting so much more complex, but in a good way, and it's so much detail involved. It's not just hoon it to the end. There's so much for a driver to think about and do on their device as well, of course.
Yeah, we spoke about this as well. Obviously, like I said, we do the different sim racing esports where it's in cockpits and they take it all very seriously. They try and make it as realistic as possible. And there's a little bit of snobbery that exists from that side of it. So, you know, me getting brought into it this time last year doing the finals for Revuelto was an absolute eye-opener, because I've always loved that sort of game. I've always loved that type of arcadey, high action, high intensity, reactionary type game here. And it absolutely blew me away when I started playing it and figuring out, actually, damn, this is the control mechanisms for this are really, really tight, and it feels really, really good to be playing it. It's very satisfying, very, very rewarding, but there's so much nuance in it, Paul, and that's what we need to try and get across to the viewers here. For those that don't play this game, you know, we've got a ton of chat in the community that play this religiously, but for those out there that haven't played this game, absolutely pick it up. It is totally worth it, and it is just such a rewarding thing, you know, whether it's coming from the constant unlocking of new cars and new parts or new tracks and things like that, to the multiplayer. There's something for everyone on it, and that was what caught me totally by surprise. I was expecting it to be, you know, not a lot of nuance, not a lot of depth to it, but honestly, it kept me engrossed for days and weeks afterwards.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It is, like I say, it is the depth, shall we say, of the mechanics of the title. There's obviously the nitro and all that good stuff, and then the different kind of drifting, and you can do the jumps and the barrel rolls and the wall riding, etc. It's all about. The circuit may look like this, and this, but that's not what you do. You use all the scenery around you and the street furniture around you and the whole strategic driving tactics, which for me, as a casual player, shall we say, of the title, it'll take me weeks, months, years to master all these little tips and tricks and little skills that you can pull off that help you get the big result. And I do love that one, as you say, David. It's one of those where as soon as you scratch the surface, it goes many layers deep, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, and I think we need to get like a little show match on the go. Me versus you, Paul.
No.
We'll try and make. Listen, we're both as hopeless as each other. We'll get some pointers from chat in the community to help us out on that one. And again, apologies about the filling in here, ladies and gentlemen. We are dealing with some technical issues while we get the next race back up and restarted. But as you said, I mean, for the drivers here, Paul, moments like this where they're kind of ready to go and then they go and then they have to start over again. It's you've got to start again, don't you? You have to psych yourself up and get yourself back in that moment.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and it's the same in any sporting competition. You build the adrenaline, everything comes to a crescendo, your preparation, the whole routine maybe that you have before you go into a competition. It all comes to the point where you're about to go racing, then you get the delay, and then everything sinks back out of you again. It's incredibly difficult to pump yourself back up again. But pump ourselves back up we're going to have to do, because Mayon is here in the purple machine, Sukchi in the blue car, and we are go again for our first race of the day. The inside line equals the shortest distance, equals an early race lead for the blue car. As we look to the inside, Sukti trying very, very hard to stay out of trouble at this early juncture. They're on different routes, the two drivers. They will converge in a few moments' time. That is riding on board, a little barrel roll in the air, then a mistake. And I think we've got another disconnection issue. So just like the drivers saying about building them up and building them back down again, those commentators have the same problem. I built myself up and now I'm back down again.
Yeah, and listen, that's the thing when you're in a remote location like this. I've behind the scenes, right, before esports and all that sort of stuff, I've been involved in LAN events and helping set them up. Honestly, the things that are all moving behind the scenes to help make this happen, it's there's a lot of stuff going on, and then when you get one thing going wrong, it's fun times, I can assure you. So again, our apologies, ladies and gentlemen. We will bring you the racing as soon as we possibly can, but it's better that we do this and make sure that both drivers are happy with the connection that they've got and they're fully satisfied with everything that's going on. Then we can guarantee them a fair race. There's nothing worse, Paul, than having to make do with something and then trying to complain about it afterwards. Not that I've ever done that.
Nah, there's a joke in there somewhere, David, but I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to take the cheap shot. But, no, but you're absolutely right. It's all about making sure the drivers are happy that they've got the platform and they've got the opportunity to perform at their very best without any hindrance and any ability to say, hey, I could have won if. So it may take a little while. I mean, you say about LAN events and how difficult these are to set up, and you're absolutely right. Throw into the mix that we're at a racetrack as well, and it's, of course, the Lamborghini Super Trofeo World Finals this weekend at Jerez. 500 plus Lamborghini Super Trofeo cars, lots and lots of people, lots of bandwidth usage. It's a very, very difficult environment in which to put on these kind of shows. It's a big ask for the infrastructure as well. So it is a little bit frustrating, I suppose, to be at this point. But as you say, David, it's absolutely right. We need to make sure that everything is perfect for our drivers. And again, just before we did that second aborted race, we were talking about how difficult it is for the drivers to get back in the zone. This is the third time they're going to do that now. This is going to be a real test of their mettle, isn't it?
Absolutely is, and again, you know, you have to be aware of things like this happening. Just like you can have it in LAN situation where you have connection issues, you can also have that in remote play as well. It's perfectly possible, and you know, as wonderful as the internet is, it can be a little bit temperamental sometimes, but it does give us plenty of opportunity to say a huge thank you to our brand partners over at Gameloft for helping us make this happen, as well as to Lamborghini and to AK Informatica for everything that is going on, and for all the frantics running about in the background that everybody else at home doesn't see right now. I can guarantee there are some people that are frantically running amok behind the scenes, getting everything up and running for us today.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a really impressive setup and organisation on the wall that you see behind me. Just behind that is all the production team. There are hundreds and thousands, not quite literally that, but you know what I mean, monitors, of dials, of equipment, PCs, all the things that are required to take all these feeds and put them onto the internet, and then to give David and I the pictures in which we can mumble our way through and hopefully make a modicum of sense, which from time to time happens, David, but it's more luck than judgment, methinks. And yeah, it's a great stuff, and AK Esports do an absolutely sterling job. Gameloft, of course, they're here on site as well. I've seen 2 or 3 people from Gameloft, had a chance to chat to them about their product and about their future, and really exciting things coming. But you know what's exciting, David Christie? Racing. Take it away.
Let's go then, and fingers crossed, third time is the charm. You can see Sukti on the left hand side, Neon on the right hand side as well, both in similar livery cars. Neon takes the early leads here as Sukti takes to the left hand side, slightly wider drift there. That is going to be collision for the pair of them, I think. Both of them getting caught up in that, or was that just Sukti behind there? It did look like both of them trying to trail into that tunnel there, and that didn't work out for at least one of the drivers there. We get going. Listen, this is exactly what we talk about, Paul, when we talk about these high stakes adventures here. Everything all going right now, and I think for Sukti, it's yeah, that could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, you saw it coming, didn't you? They were running for the entrance into the tunnel. You thought that's very much a rapidly reducing space, and unfortunately, a little bit of contact and a wreck against the wall was the end result. So let's have a look there. We're still running a perfect run. We've got on screen a little pirouette as well there. Just catching the scenery, no problem with the nitro to get us out of any kind of trouble. And you can see this is a perfect example of the different routes that these drivers have to choose from. There is, ideally, an ideal route, but it all depends on the strategy that you're deploying into this race, and that's what I absolutely love about this thing, as the first lap is now completed. And I think there's another wreck. There is another wreck. Which driver was that one? Was that
Sukti.
That was Sukti. Oh dear.
Yeah, so that's kind of done and dusted. Listen, we saw the handling characteristics right now of this car. It's a little bit weighty, so when you're drifting the car around, tends to tail slide into the wall there. But how often have we seen this where it's either a bit of traffic or a misjudgment that sends these cars into their demise here? But at the moment then, it does look like it's going to be the first round the way of Mayon. But again, it's not over yet. We've seen a lot of incidents, a lot of issues for these drivers right now, and yeah, I wouldn't like to put any money on it just yet. Give me until we halfway through the second one, and then I'll feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many. A mistake is always so close to the surface. I say mistake, not even mistake per se, are they? It's just circumstances. You're going so quickly, it's so frenetic on the circuit, and you catch something in the wrong way, a little miscalculation, and before you know it, it is game over. But there is the end of that one, and it is a race victory. So beautiful stuff there from Mion. Fantastic performance, and Sukti, I think, will be a little bit frustrated that it all went so wrong so quickly.
Yeah, that's a difficult one to swallow there, but Mayon really taken to that top step there. Again, the drift management, the nitro management, absolutely key through that course there. You could see the 360 into the drift, timed to perfection. That's what keeps that nitro bar filled up and keeps it going.
Yep, fabulous stuff then from our two drivers. And let's remember, this is a best of 3. So that's the first race of a potential total of 3. But if Mion takes the victory again, he will be the one that makes his merry way through to the next stage of the competition. David, what a fabulous, fabulous start to the race.
Yeah, the thing with that as well is that Mion is one step up now.
Yep.
He's got one hand on this next round of the championship. We saw from the aggression, we saw from the second rounds there, I think this is now or never for Sukti. He has to really pull it out the bag. Now, is it going to go to just, trying to outdrive Mion on this one, or are we going to see physicality getting brought into this one as well? We'll wait and see.
Well, I think you've got to sharpen the elbows for this race, it has to be said. It is all going to be, as we said before, if you don't make it through from this stage of the competition, your day is done. So if you're the likes of Sukti today, now in this race, you've got to get your elbows out, David. You've got to be aggressive. You've got to make the moves count, and hopefully for him, take the victory to drag it through into the third and final encounter of this third bracket race.
Yeah, but on top of that as well, you've got the risk and reward thing. We're going to find out enough of it because we are about to get going. Sukti on the left-hand side, Mion on the right-hand side. It's a great start from Sukti. There goes the aggression already from Sukti straight into the wall, and that's already down to a disadvantage. Fires onto the shockwave there, tries to pull it through. I'll tell you what, this car is not looking happy at all there. Flips into the wall, gets through the underground there, but it is Mion that's still out in front just now. You can see that car really struggling, hits the wall, but still keeps onto the speed here. The pace that Sukti has got is still absolutely on par. They're almost decadent here, and it does look like that Sukti does have the better speed than Mion just now. They're going out and coming back very quickly indeed here. So at this point in time, this is a much better race from Sukti. Keeps that car a little bit lower, drops onto the nitro, pulls the car right here. But for me, I think Mion has just got the better driving speed at the moment.
Yeah, Mion's minimising the mistakes. Looks a little bit aggressive, a little bit ragged, catching the wall on the few occasions where you don't want it to be. But we are still within touching distance. Mion is still our race leader. Sukti in second place. A little bit of wall riding that we see going on there. That's perfectly legal and perfectly good. That's helping to maintain the speed of the car. Battle roll mid-air as well, trying to use all the power ups possible for these two drivers. That's worked very well for Sukti though. He's closing the gap down. Mion is still our race leader. We almost thought about having an alternative line, an alternative route, and there is the mistake. That is a big bit of contact there. Will he have managed to get through it? But Mion is looking free and clear.
Yeah, I think that's what he was trying to do previously, trying to get that jump there, but it just wasn't happening here. Again, looking at the gap that's to the car in front of him, and it makes it so very difficult. The thing with it is that for me, Sukti had the better run of things. I'll tell you why. It looked like he was doing a lot of air tricks.
Yeah.
He was trying to keep that car off the ground as much as possible, and what that was doing is the cars have a higher top speed in the air than they do when they're on the ground, just marginally, but it's enough to have a bit of a boost there. Oh, that's a wreck! That was come from behind. That looked like that was Sukti all the way from behind there. That was out of absolutely nowhere, and that's that top speed from up in the air. Yeah,
that is a big surprise. Sukti did a great job to pull him back down again. I thought that last manoeuvre would have put him out of contention, but Mion almost let the line gets banged into by Sukti. Sukti though, trying to think maybe, David, to be a little bit strategic contact there, but it did not work at all. And Mion is our second win of the day, and he makes it through to the next stage of the competition. And look at that one, he's delighted.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely over the moon with that one. But the thing is as well, where did CEST come from? He was out of it. He had no right to be getting up as close as he did. And again, it's that top speed that he was able to get from being up in the air and pulling those air tricks there. That was, man, I'm gutted. I wish there was a third one for that, because I think there would have been a very, very different result to that race. But well done to Meon. He'll move forward into the next round of the tournament. But the thing is as well, that now gives us our first semi-final, because that is now going to be Future Flash versus Meon for that race there.
Yeah, it was fantastic stuff. I think from CEST's point of view, very, very competitive. I'm surprised he manages to close up so quickly, but the end result is it's another victory for Meon. And I think now, folks, it's time for me to say once again, we're going to a very short break. If you're watching live, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Back to the Lamborghini Temerario Esports Challenge on Asphalt Legends Unite. David Christie, we've had a great race so far. Well, 3 great races so far, and it's now for the final quarter-final.
Yeah, it certainly is. A very warm welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are on to the final quarter-final, as Paul Jeffrey just said there. What a day we have had so far. It is going to be a brilliant set of affairs coming up. We've got our final quarter-final coming up, and the thing is, with what we've seen so far, the fact that we've now got Fury Dark Hyper versus Racer Best here, I think this is going to be a very, or potentially a very explosive final quarter-final here, because these two, I think both of them have got the capability to go all the way here.
Yeah, completely agree with you. These are 2 drivers that we didn't see in the finals last year, so they're relatively new names to the competition and to us behind the cameras. And I'm looking forward to seeing this one. We've seen 3 very different brackets, 3 different tactics and styles of driving and racing and racecraft. Will the 4th one be the polished final product and the combination of all 3, or is it going to be absolutely no holes barred all the way to the line?
I don't think it matters, especially with the fact that we're going to be on Osaka. A win is a win at this stage of the championship. You have to get yourself out of this knockout stage at the quarterfinals here. And again, we've seen what to expect. We said that right at the start here, Paul. A lot of these drivers are going to be watching the other drivers taking part and thinking, right, okay, so we're doing that now then. Well, I can do that. And maybe trying to get some sort of mental homework going ahead of this. But as we said, our final quarter-final, we're off to Japan, we're off to Osaka. And here is the brackets here, Paul.
Yeah, so we've already seen then the quarter-final races, Future Flash and RPM Alex. It was a victory for Future Flash. And then Jaeger and Elite Joe were against each other. Elite Joe was the winner, so they go through to the semi-finals and will be racing each other. Mion and Suchi that we've just seen at this moment in time, it was a victory for the South Korean driver, so he's through and has booked his place into the next stage of the competition. The big question is, Racer Best or Fury Dark Hyper? Who's going to win? Join Mion in the semi-finals.
That is going to be the big $1 million question on this one. For me personally, I think it's going to be Dark Hyper that's going to edge on this one. Now watch that immediately not happen because I've now just completely jinxed it there. But that's my thoughts on that one. And of course, now we get from the quarterfinals to the semi-finals, we have to do that sort of build up all over again. The drivers have to get themselves into the mood for things here, Paul. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, to me, this is what's been the most exciting thing about this competition. There is no real form book coming into this one. It is so frantic, it is so dramatic, the strategy that can be deployed by the drivers. I genuinely could not pick, even if I managed to get myself a Temerario car at the end of it, for picking right, I wouldn't be able to tell you, David. I just don't know, and I think I'll tell you the answer after we've done 3 races with these 2 drivers. That's the safest bet.
Well, while we're doing that, we're off to Osaka in Japan. We're off to the Kansai region in Japan, to be precise, where the beautiful cherry blossoms are going to be out in full force. Another one of the urban tracks that we've got here in Asphalt Legends Unite. Again, a difficult track here. With lots and lots of jumps, lots of obstacles in the way here, but again, I think it's going to be more on the agility of the cars rather than the top speed, which we know isn't the best in the Temerario, but it makes up for it with that acceleration here.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic, another new scenery, beautiful track, beautiful map. Looking forward to it. But David, I'm going to hand back to you for a moment because I've got a couple of eager drivers stood over my shoulder, ready for us to have a quick word. So I'll pass back over to you, David, if I may.
Excellent stuff, thanks very much. So while Paul gets himself ready for some driver interviews, just a reminder, chat, keep the messages coming in. We are loving seeing all the support from all around the world that all of the drivers and everyone is getting for today. Also, we'll be dropping in some exclusive in-game codes for you. Keep an eye on chat. But over to Paul Jeffrey, who has our final quarter-finalists.
Thank you very much, David. So we've got our final 2 drivers that are going to be taking place in the quarter-final race in a few moments' time. I'd like to invite Fury Dark Hyper to the stage, if I may. Hello and welcome to you. So, if you could, to our camera, can you just introduce yourself, please? Name, country and age, if I may.
Hello, everyone. Also, hello the chat, obviously. My name is Camilo Ardila, aka Fury Dark Hyper. I'm from Colombia and I have 22 years old.
So you've come all the way from Colombia here to Jerez in Spain for this competition. That must be an amazing experience to travel that distance to come here and compete.
Yeah, it's a quite long flight. So it's a bit stressful, but we are here for the experience.
So I want to know a bit more about you as a person, as a player. How long have you been playing? Why did you get into racing and mobile gaming, and what does it mean to you to be here with Lamborghini?
Well, it means a lot for me because it shows the experience, maybe the dedication we have to, that we put in the game. Like, it's so many times that we need to spend to qualify. Also trying. So it's a mistake and correct and try to play again.
Fantastic stuff. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the fruits of your labours in a few moments' time. But first, I'd like to invite RacerBest to the stage. If I could ask you to come into the middle for me, please. Welcome. It's great to have you with us. And again, same process. If you could just say name, age, and where you're from to start with, please.
Hello, Asphalt gamers. I'm RacerBest from Finland. I'm 28 years old. And yeah, that's me.
Fantastic stuff. It's great to see Finland represented in this competition as well. Now, again, we talk about in Asphalt community, bringing everybody together. Anybody can get involved. Can I ask a little bit about you? Personal questions, a little bit about yourself and what do you do for a living? What do you do at home? And we see the esports man, but what's the real person behind the camera like?
Well, the real version of me is pretty boring. I go to work and it's nothing special work. I don't want to really talk about it, but it keeps me going and lets me play this game. I like this game and it's cool to be here in the finals. It's been like 2 years since I last competed in a final, and I've never been in a physical event like this, so it's a new experience to me.
Now that is really interesting. You've never been in a physical LAN event like this. How difficult or easy is it to adjust to being in the same space as the people that you're racing against? It's no longer behind the keyboard, it is boom, here on site.
It's not easy, like nobody even knew what I look like because I never post pictures of myself online, and so now everyone sees me, and it's a bit crazy to be here in person. It's a new experience. I'm super nervous, but I hope the races will go well.
Well, the racing is what you guys do best. So without further ado, can I invite you both to go to your stations and the very, very best of luck. Good luck to you all. And David, while the drivers are getting ready, I'll head back over to you, please.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much, Paul Jeffrey. Well, chat. There you go, a world first RacerBest face reveal live on stream here. I've got to say, just very quickly, chat, I am loving the RacerBest community. I'm loving how vocal that you lot are getting down in there. So thank you very much for staying engaged with us here. And I hope you will cherish those memories forever on that one. Right, so we are just about ready to go back down to the track. As a reminder, our final quarter-final, we are off to Osaka. And again, safe to say both of those drivers maybe a little bit nervous there, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't we love to see that one? That's why I love being on site. You can feel the emotion and the tension between the drivers. And as RacerBest mentioned, first time he's done a LAN event. How awesome is that? First time. It's her ref, and it's for Lamborghini. Wow. And here we go, David. Actually, we're about to go racing. So, the green car, so it's blue car. Green car, let's start again. It's RacerBest. And the blue car is Fury Dark. And that's a very, very nice start indeed for RacerBest at this moment in time. Goes into an early lead. Is there hopefully going to be no dramas on these first few laps? And there we go. Fury Dark makes the move. Does he wreck the car, though? I wasn't
yes,
quite
he does.
sure. Oh, dear. It's all gone wrong so early.
Oh my goodness me, Dark Piper getting wrecked out. The two of them trying to go for that underground tunnel there. 2-1 is never going to go, and that means that RacerBest streaking away with this right now. Dark Piper getting caught up in the collision, and that's going to be a very, very expensive virtual crash that we've just had here. And through Osaka then this is just a streak in the park here right now for RacerBest at the moment, up to that early lead. But we did see from that last race with Suki, a comeback is definitely possible, especially right at this early stage of the race, Paul. It's still very much anyone's race.
Oh, absolutely. The pressure is off in a fashion for RacerBest, but sometimes that's when things get a little bit more difficult, because you try and be a little bit more cautious, take fewer risks, be a little bit neater, be a little bit smoother behind the wheel, and then before you know it, the time that you're giving up has been made up massively. Fury Dark Hyper, look at the concentration at the bottom of your screen. That's a man who is absolutely focused. He knows that early mistake is going to cost him massively in this best of three opening race in the final quarter-final bracket, and he's desperately trying to, at the very least, recover some ground and make a little bit of a question mark in the mind of Fury Dark Hyper, but unfortunately I think it might be a little bit too little, too late for the driver from Finland.
Yeah, it makes it so very, very difficult to deal with all of that going on, all the pressure, all of the chaos that's been happening in this first race here. But again, after that, it's a fairly uneventful finish to the first race here. It's just literally straight through to the line here for both Dark Hyper and RacerBest, and the fact that we've not seen any other colours for Dark Hyper, I think makes it even worse for them, because that one mistake costs them everything. But it's been an exhibition race so far right now from RacerBest. Comes across the line, and there we go. That is it, done and dusted. A big grin. He knows exactly what he's just achieved on that first race there, and it's starting to sink in, one step closer to the next stage of the championships, into the semi-finals.
Yep, that's it. You've got to keep picking off these races as they come. A little bit of a tick in the box, and that's exactly what we've seen in that first race. Real shame that we had the early incident, but that does set us up in a make or break for the second of these races. It's a best of three, of course, but of course, if you win both of them, we don't do the third one. So, make or break for both of our drivers, David. Pressure. They looked a little bit nervous, you mentioned it, a little bit nervous in the interview. Whew, those nerves are going to be times 1,000 coming into this one, surely.
I tell you what, RacerBest didn't look nervous as we looked at him after that race there. It was a little wry grin. He knew exactly what he was doing on that one. But again, it comes down to the collision and that knockdown, that knockout, deciding the race before it's even begun. We're barely a quarter of the way through the first lap there, Paul. And again, the frustration is immeasurable.
Yeah, it is infuriating as a driver, whether it's a mistake or whether it's caused by another is irrelevant. When you're so early out of contention, it really does hurt. So here we go then, RacerBest again in the green car, Fury Dark Hyper in the purple machine as we get away from the line. It's the second of a best of three competition, a little bit of contact with the traffic, but that is no problem whatsoever. The RacerBest car takes an early race lead using the nitro nice and early, keeps it nice and clean through the opening sections, goes through the garage door. There's a surprise for you. Didn't think that was an actual route, but on this occasion it works very nicely indeed. And David, that has been a very precise opening few corners.
It absolutely has, and you can see that collision there, the pinpoint accuracy going on right now from RacerBest at the moment, really pushing everything to what you can do at the very moment. It's everything just now. When you're pushing the nitro management and you're having to get these millisecond accurate presses right now, because it does look like RacerBest using a controller, whereas obviously Dark Hyper using the mobile at the moment. And again, that's another talking point for the crossplay element.
Absolutely, loving the crossplay aspect of racing in the same race. Look at this one now, that's a lot of airtime. A little bit of wall ride as well. Barrel roll mid-corner, contact between the two of them. RacerBest in the green car still leads Fury Dark Hyper in the purple machine side by side. Secondary contact between the two of them, both drivers get away with it, but RacerBest is the one with the advantage, courtesy of that one. Fury Dark Hyper will be building a small amount of fury in the back of his mind as well. He will not be happy with that kind of contact. A good drift going on there as well, so obstacles have been destroyed. 101 metres for Fury Dark Hyper, but the gap, David, is in a little bit too much to overcome in these final few moments.
Millimetres between them right now. You could see that shockwave use there from both the drivers right now. You've literally got about 15 seconds left on this track here. It might be too little, too late for Hyper Dark. It's looking like it's going to be RacerBest who's got this one right now. They jump off the bridge, down towards the final stage of this lap here. And again, it does look like Racer Best has got this one. What a different race this has been from the two of them. 360s over the jumps there, and again all about this nitro management, testing the wall, trying to hug the apex as much as he possibly can right now. But there we go, it's all what could have been for Dark Hyper, and realistically, what's that, 0.6 of a second? Yeah, unbelievable stuff there.
That was fantastic. It was so close for so long. A little bit of contact as well, but no harm, no foul. And that is two very, very impressive victories for the Finnish driver, Racer Best. Fabulous stuff. And David, we know how dramatic these races can be, but they can also be very close as well indeed. And there was some really smart driving between both of those drivers to pick out the best route that they can make and try and stay out. Look, there we go. Love to see that one. A little bit of a hug and a handshake between them as well. Fury Dark Hyper giving his rival the commendations he deserves for a very, very strong performance indeed in that final qualifying race.
Yeah, well, listen, there's no going back now for Racer Best. He's done his face reveal. He's no longer the international man of mystery, so he's just going to have to kind of embrace his newfound fame on that one. But he did everything he needed to do through the semi-final. He's going to be facing off against Meon, and then potentially looking to try and get himself into that final as well. But now that we've got the quarterfinals out of the way, remember, it's not do or die at this point in time. We do have a loser's bracket coming out of this next round here for the third place final, and again that's what all eyes are going to be. But realistically, you want your hand on that trophy, you want to get yourself into the grand final. But wow, this is shaping up nicely. Again, great to see that my pick was absolutely destroyed, so I'm sorry Dark Hyper for jinxing you on that one, but there we go.
Yep, fantastic stuff. So, don't go anywhere, folks at home. We are going to take another short break, but we will be back, and it's time for the next round of the competition. See you. and welcome back to the Lamborghini Temerario Esports Challenge here at the beautiful Jerez circuit. My name's Paul Jeffrey, alongside me is David Christie. And Mr. David Christie, why is it a fun time to be here? The first of the semi-finals.
Let's get going on this one. This has been awesome. The quarterfinals were chaos. They were just absolute chaos. And now with the semis, we've got Future Flash and Elite Joe. That is going to be a banger. Mayon versus Racer Best as well. The Racer Best community, they're going to be sending all their love, all their energy to defeat the mighty Mayon. But wow, I don't know how we're going to go with this first one. Future Flash versus Elite Joe, still on the best of 3 right now, and then we move to the grand finals, which is of course best of 7. So it gives them plenty of opportunity. There's no excuses on this one. It's now everything to go to the grand final. Anything else, you're going to be in that bottom bracket final.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Again, it is a best of 3 for the semi-finals. Same for the third place final, a little bit further down the road. So just like we've seen in the quarters, it's going to be a very short, very sharp and very quick process indeed for these drivers. They're already preparing themselves and at their stations to go racing. We're not going to speak to them before we go into the racing action. We've already had a quick chat. It is now all about deciding who's going to be where in the overall pecking order. Will it be a victory for Future Flash? Will Elite Joe pull it out of the bag and show what he is made of? Fabulous stuff. Future Flash from Greece, Elite Joe from Mexico. Both drivers only got 1 goal, and that's a place in the grand final.
Exactly. That it's now all eyes on the prize. It's difficult enough when you've got the 8 racers taking part in this, but now we're down to 4. Now we've got 3 adversaries that you've got to worry about for the remainder of the day here. Then you go down into that grand final, and the grand final is going to be a slog, make no doubt about it, because with it being best of 7, first to 4, it's a really, really difficult ask for the drivers, but they'll absolutely be up for it. And again, track selection is going to be absolutely paramount on this one here, Paul.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's going to be track position, it's going to be maximising the performance and minimising the mistakes. That sounds like a mantra that we shout for every kind of racing event, no matter what the platform, but it holds true come what may. And the Temerario Esports Challenge for Lamborghini here is no different. Already though, we are in action, so we're joining a little bit late for this one, as we see the usual stuff, a little bit of a barrel roll through the air. Again, the more time you spend in the air, the more you can charge your nitro, the faster you can go. The faster you can go, the happier everybody is. And in fact, actually, I do apologise. We are back again. Sorry, small delay. We'll be going running. But again, David, very, very, very different to what a lot of people will be used to. This being in the air, using the tricks, using the speed, using the nitro. And it's, for me, for sure, it's a new experience. It's been fascinating. I'm absolutely loving this. It's really, really good.
It is a very, very different experience than what we're used to, because obviously the majority of our work, Paul, is, the titles are based in as heavily as close to real life as possible, whereas this is an arcade racer. This is meant to be fun and enjoyable, and just on that edge of like having real life cars and real life themed tracks, but slightly out of reality moments where you can jump through the air. And this is, see, 8-year-old me, this is the game that I wanted to play as like a kid. This is honestly, it's so cool. But what we've just seen, and I'm surprised that it took us right until that last quarterfinal, or the second to last quarterfinal, is the difference between airspeed and ground speed.
Yes.
Just keeping that car very slightly off. You'll see drivers trying to abuse the track limits, trying to use bits of the track that aren't actually supposed to be for driving on, just to keep those wheels off the ground, because the game counts it as not being on the ground, and that top speed is a little bit different to what it is on the ground. So little bits like that, that's the sort of little fine margins that we're talking with. But again, coming into that final round, it's what we were saying, risk versus reward. How much are you willing to put on the table here? You can drive ultra defensively, but you're not going to be as fast as if you're absolutely going for it. But if you're absolutely going for it, it's going to be just a millimetre too much, and you're going to be out of the game.
Yeah, risk versus reward is exactly the right phrase to use on this one. We've seen it in the previous races, as you say, using bits of the racetrack that are not strictly the racetrack, but that puts you in jeopardy. That puts you very close to those sharp edges that when you hit them, car wrecks, it's pretty much game over for your prospects. So you've got to really do a fine balancing act and massive respect for these drivers as well. Their reaction speed, David, is just sensational. We saw it a few times in the last race. I think it was Fury that was sort of up in the air and then changing the trajectory of the car mid-flight to make sure that he lands on the right part of the racetrack and make sure that everything behaves as it should do. Very, very quick reflexes, and you've got to be like that. You've got to be on point all the time.
Yeah, you absolutely do. You cannot afford a momentary lapse in judgment, and that's why I kind of struggle with a game like this, is just having that focus for the entirety of the race here. And again, what we said earlier is about being able to reproduce these results time and time again. You can do all the practice you want, but with the fact that these maps are so variable, it makes it so difficult. But it looks like we're in our first semi-final. Future Flash versus Elite Joe. Future Flash on the left-hand side, Elite Joe on the right-hand side, and it is going to be Future Flash with a very, very early minute lead here.
Yeah, both cars here in the same livery. It makes it a little bit harder, but Future Flash, as you're absolutely right, is the man that is leading the way. We can see both drivers picture in picture, focusing hard on the task in hand, both using different platforms, using the Asphalt Legends Ultimate Unite even, multiplayer cross-play capabilities, but Future Flash is our early race leader. Elite Joe following in his wheel tracks and waiting to make the move.
Yeah, he certainly is. You can see a little 360 there from Flash, just trying to keep that nitro bar up. Both drivers using Shockwave at exactly the same time. It is a minute gap in front there for Future Flash. It does look like Elite Joe just poised, waiting for something to happen. Moves to the inside line there. A little bit of a hip check there from Future Flash. That was some definite aggression there, and that was a swat of the nose. That's a gaming equivalent of getting your nose smacked there. And look at how much time that's cost Elite Joe right now. Future Flash get a little bit of a gap up here. Both drivers still onto that double tap of nitro here, moving through the bustling streets, the bustling neon streets here at night as we complete our first lap. And this is just an epic first race of this huge shockwave spin there for Elite Joe on that right hand side, as he's doing everything he can. He is pulling everything out of the bag to try and catch up, and do you know what? I think it's working. I think he is actually starting to gain a little bit in Future Flash. He is markedly catching up on that car in front here. We've gone to our final lap. This is going to be a close affair here. It's got to be nothing less than perfection here, Paul, from both drivers.
Yeah, Future Flash being a little bit cautious at this stage in the race, of course, because he's got the race lead. He doesn't want to take too many risks. Elite Joe, though, has absolutely nothing to lose. It is all about throwing the dice. Look at the NOS bar at the top of the screen. He's starting to build up again. He's going to use that to his advantage, trying every trick in the book. A little bit of a loop round as well there, just desperately trying to make up the gap, courtesy of the contact, the naughty contact, it has to be said, that we saw on the opening lap. But Future Flash has it in the bag at this moment in time. If he can avoid any kind of dramas, it is his victory for the taking, and there we go. It is victory for Future Flash, and that was a very tight race despite the contact. And look at that one, a shake of the head, David. Not quite how he wanted that one to go.
Yeah, that's the thing with that as well. It was a flawless performance after that initial contact there from the pair of them there. The both of them really pushing everything as much as they can. Elite Joe, that honestly, if that had been a different race, that would have been a race-winning run from Elite Joe on that. But again, like, this is what we're here for, the drama, the intrigue, and I am absolutely here for race 2. Future Flash has one on the board though, best of 3, and again the pressure now going onto Elite Joe for this final race here. What we've seen every single race right now, there is always a little bit of aggression coming out the gates. That first race, you get about halfway through it, then there's something happen, and then the gloves come off, and they're like, "Oh right, okay, let's do this then."
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it was a little bit naughty, it has to be said, from Elite Flash, the little bit of contact that we saw in the early running, but it worked very well indeed. A little thumbs up we saw between the two drivers as well, just saying, hey, all's fair in love and war on these things, we've got to push it to the end. And I dare say the needle level has intensified somewhat for our second race. So I'm looking forward to see the knock-on effects of that very tight battle in this second one. Because, of course, for Elite Joe, win or goodbye.
And here we go then, second and possibly final of this first semi-finals then. Elite Joe on the left-hand side, and then Future Flash on the right there. So Elite Joe taking the early leads of this, and again, that's a marked change there from that starting position there, as Elite Joe starting to use his pace. Now this is the key thing for me, is that's a beautiful nitro use there from Future Flash right now, but again you can see, Paul, just that little bit of a gap. This is the pace that I was saying that Elite Joe had, chasing now Future Flash on that first one. Now he's out in front. I wonder if he can build up a little bit of a lead here.
Yeah, that's a very big opportunity for Elite Joe, and he absolutely knows this well, I'm sure. He'll be well aware that his rival is very much in the background in this particular race. But Elite Joe, he was the charger last time. He was the man making up ground with nothing to lose. Now he's the man at the front of the pack. Will that change the mentality? Will that change the strategy? Will that change the risk aversion for Elite Joe? We'll find out. But so far, these two cars are almost a mirror image of each other, David, such as the proximity of similarity in their driving.
Yeah, but that was a huge boost of nitro there for Future Flash there. They're side by side. That brought Future Flash up. They're climbing all over the top of each other here. Big physical contact between the pair of them. Trying to get the right bit here. Can't quite happen. They're still side by side. That puts Elite Joe back out in front. Future Flash now goes out in front. Now Elite Joe as well. That causes a huge drop in the top speed there. And this is absolutely incredible. Tail slides, barrel rolls, 360s, you name it, we've got it in this first semi-final. And this is absolutely going right down to the wire. They've got a shockwave there from Elite Joe on the right-hand side. Future Flash just still right out in front like a mobile roadblock at the moment here. What can Elite Joe do to get past this car in front?
This is sensational stuff from these two drivers. So Elite Joe has it all to do. Remember, he's got to take the victory to stay in this competition, to stay in the fight for the final. Future Flash, though, with one win in his books, a little bit more comfortable contact between the two of them. The audience are cheering, the fellow drivers are watching on. It's a little bit of a time run now between the two of them. Future Flash still our race leader. Elite Joe still trying to buy into this one as well. They're going to use every trick in the book, David, but he's running out of time, and it is a victory and a massive celebration for Elite Flash. He enjoyed that one, did Future Flash. Beautiful stuff, David Christie.
Wow. That was a masterclass in nitro management right there. An amazing race between Future Flash and Elite Joe, the two of them. They can absolutely hold their heads up high after that one. That was one of the most entertaining races that we've had so far in these finals just now. And oh, that was fireworks, absolute fireworks between the two of them. And immediately they went over to shake each other's hand. They know that was an absolute banger of a race there. And yeah, love it. Chat, hope you lot enjoyed that out there as well.
Yeah, that was truly fantastic. I really enjoyed that. Both drivers let's be honest, David, they both deserve to make it through. That was phenomenal stuff, that one. I wish we could give style points out and a wild card to somebody, because I really do feel sorry for Elite Joe. That was a really potent drive. But Future Flash, wow, what can I say?
It was nitro management. That's 100% what it came down to between the two of them, and it was just marginally better for Future Flash on that second race there. The thing was, we saw Elite Joe go off into the lead there, and then it was Future Flash who decided to pull the shockwave halfway round that second lap. That brought him up neck and neck with Elite Joe, and then for about 8 to 10 corners, the two of them side by side. And what I loved is the fact that they gave clean racing room for both of them there. They had the opportunity to take each other down there, and they didn't. They wanted to settle it out on track. And yeah, I feel kind of bad though, Paul, because I feel like, how do we get anything, how do we keep that high level of competition? And just as I was saying, just checking in with chat there, they are rightly losing their minds. That was one of the best races I think we've had in quite a while.
Yeah, thoroughly agree with that one. Absolute baptism of fire for me for this championship, I have to say. Really loving that one. Great racing. Very different tactics as well from our two drivers, and the way that they got through to the line. They mirrored each other for a while, then diverged on different paths, and then came back in, as you say, using that nitro strategically and intelligently, using the airtime intelligently, and all the little tricks of the trade. This is why they're the best of the best, David. This is why they are the absolute top level of the 1.3+ million players of this title.
1,000,000%. It just shows why they're here. They didn't qualify from this through luck or through friends of friends. They qualified on pure skill alone here. But to do that against someone else that's got, a comparable skill level to you. It just shows you what it takes to actually get to this level. And for me as well, I think it's a brilliant advert for Gameloft and for Asphalt Legends Unite to show exactly the scale of the multiplayer racing that you can get on this platform. That was just epic stuff. And the great thing for Elite Joe is the fact that he's not going to head away home empty-handed. He'll go back into that lower finals, possibly going for third place here.
Yeah, that is a really nice thing, actually. There will be a third place playoff at the end of this competition. The next round, of course, the next semi-final, we still need to do. Then when we've got our our finalists, the two drivers that didn't go through will make it into the next stage of the competition. Speaking of said next stage of the competition, we're about to go racing again. And already, look at the tension. Look at the tension on the faces. Racer Best is going to be going up against Mion. And David, this one could go any which way, I think.
Yeah, I've got no idea how this is going to go. Mion on the left-hand side in the purple car, Racer Best. On the right-hand side in the green, we are just seconds away from getting this second semi-final on the go as well. And yeah, you've got to say those cars do look absolutely gorgeous just in the background there. But here we go then. Mion on the left-hand side in the purple car, Racer Best in the green car. We get going. And it's a bit of a false start, unfortunately, because Mion's got to reconnect to this. And unfortunately, back to the connection issues. We'll jump back to that in just a second there. And we'll get Mion connected back to it. So again, we were talking about this all the way through in terms of these drivers putting up and having to kind of get themselves back onto the ground and running again here. I think for Mion gives him a chance to rethink about what he's going to be doing here.
Yeah, exactly. It's the negative side of things is you've got to rebuild you and really hype yourself back up. But the positive side is it does give you a little bit more thinking time, a little bit more opportunity to put your strategy and get the game face on and get ready to go racing. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other for these drivers. We will be back up and running again in a few moments' time, but it is worth reminding everybody once again at home, this is a best of 3. This is the final semi-final before the final. How many times can I say final in one sentence? But it is the final chance for these drivers to book their slot in the grand finale, and pressure is pretty high, it has to be said, on these ones. But I think looking at the drivers' faces, I think Racer Best and Mion, it's like a day in the park for them, isn't it? They're very calm.
Now listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all here, but we have a connection issue at the same moment as Gameloft dropped their third code in chat. I'm thinking that's a little bit, but at least our audience get to entertain themselves and go and get that latest drop. The code just been put in chat, so check the pinned comment for your latest codes. Again, there's a lot of moving parts here, ladies and gentlemen, so we appreciate your patience on this thing. If maybe the code doesn't work, just give it a couple of minutes and then try it again. You will get the code, so just be patient, be nice in chat. That's the last time I'm going to say that.
Yep, and I checked that with Gameloft, and it's time limited to the end of the competition, so act fast if you want that code. But David, we're about to go racing again. Racer Best in the green car, Mion in the purple machine, and it is neck and neck off the line already. There's a little bit of contact between the two drivers. That gives Mion the advantage. Racer Best slots into second position, keeping a watching brief his rival, both deploying the nitro on that car. A little bit of a twist through the air as well. Just keep those wheels off the ground, improve the top speed of the machine. But Mion is our race leader. Racer Best in passive at the bottom of the screen. Almost runs out of racetrack, does well to get you back on again. That gives him the advantage. Mion now under pressure. It's just a matter of when and not if between these two.
Oh, we've got Mion disconnecting from the race there, so unfortunately we will have to get that one started back again. Obviously connection issues from Mion's end, and staying connected to the session being a bit of an issue here. But either way, what we did see from that there was, again, nitro management being the order of the day. We saw enough being kept in reserve there to have a shockwave that allowed them to close right back up, and that is what is going to be the order of the day here. Also, again, we've alluded to it, but again, we have to start asking the question, what is the difference, if any, between using a controller, using a gamepad, and using a screen? Because obviously for Racer Best, being able to stare straight ahead at the screen and being able to use the phone itself. So again, making sure everybody can connect, that's going to be the core thing here.
Yep, absolutely. Very different ways to go about things. I heard a little whisper in my ear, but I didn't quite catch what it was. I think it was pretty much to the tune of, don't worry, we'll be back on again in a few moments' time. You can hear some background action as well here at the Jerez circuit, which is incredibly loud in my ear. Hopefully you can't pick it up, but sounds like the circuit tannoy is telling us something that we need to know. But no concern for us here at the Lamborghini Temerario Esports Challenge. David, how much more can we build this race up to be knocked back down, to build it back up again? I'm feeling the strain as a commentator. I've got no idea what those two are feeling behind me.
Well, again, as we know, I'm kind of heavily emotionally vested in chat right now. I'm going to pick one out for just now. Sahid, with the thoughts of the nation here saying stop yapping and fix the server. Well, we're multi-talented, but our job here is to do the yapping. I think if we were entrusted with anything network-wide, anything server-wide, Paul, things would blow up very quickly, would they?
Yeah, I don't think we're the kind of chaps that need to be digging into servers. That would go very wrong very quickly indeed. That's why the camera's only here, because underneath me I've got all the server rights and I'm just away at the same time. But,
so it's your fault?
Yeah, absolutely. I've kicked it and dropped some beverage on it. Here we go, Davey. Let's try this one again.
Right, third time. It's a charming. That's certainly what it was last time round, so hopefully there we go. Mayon on the left hand side and the purple car. RacerBest on the right hand side. Oh, physical contact was straight in already. Well, this is a very different start to the race right now. Mayon, though, takes that front end, though. Again, you can see much better on the boost control there for Mayon. And he's wrecked already. Mayon wrecks into the wall, and that's it. Surely going to be done for RacerBest right now. Again, barring any mistakes there from RacerBest. That's a 4% map advantage there for RacerBest right now. Mayon with all the work to do here.
Yeah, that is a fundamentals mistake for the South Korean driver. He's got a lot of ground to make up now. It's, as you say, it's very early in the lap, it's very early in the race, so there's still some wiggle room to try and close that one back. But I think RacerBest will be pushing very hard indeed to minimise any time lost to the car behind. But Mayon, what a turn up for the Bugs. He's doing some good wall riding there to try and improve the top speed of his car, but the gap, David, is massive between the two of them now.
Yeah, that's at least a 5-6 second gap between the pair of them. The problem is, we've seen RacerBest right now, absolute stone cold killer, no emotion on his face whatsoever, and the inputs that he's got in right now, so precise with this car, with this Lamborghini Temerario here. Again, that top speed 373 while he's got the nitro on the go here, and that's why you want to be in the air. Look at it shoot up to 410 plus kilometers an hour here. The gap, though, if anything, actually starting to go out a little bit between Mayon and RacerBest right now. This is the problem we were saying. You have any sort of issue whatsoever, but again, a great grind on the right hand side there from Mayon, keeping a little bit of that top speed up right now, but again, takes a little bit of the gap down, but I think it's too little too late right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a case of stroking it home now for RacerBest in the green car to the left-hand side of your screen. Mayon on the right-hand side of your screen in the purple machine. But it is absolutely RacerBest with the firm advantage coming into the final few moments. 90% race distance complete. And David, they're about to cross the line with a very commanding victory.
Yeah, but again, fair play to Mayon. He's kept in this, he's kept trying to chip away at this, and he's actually done a really good job on this. But it is across the line for RacerBest to make it 1-0 in this best of 3 semi-final. Then he's got one hand on that final right now. And again, a big grin coming up from RacerBest. He knows exactly the performance that he needed to pull out the bag here, Paul, for that first race, and that's exactly what he did, while managing to look cool, calm and collected at the same time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Did a great job there, did RacerBest. It was pretty much taken out of his hands, courtesy of the Mayon mistake. But you can only race with the situation in which you're presented, David. And if the driver is going to make a mistake, you've got to run with it and take the points and take the victory while it's presented to you, don't you?
Absolutely. You have to race the race that you're given, as you just said there, and that sounds so corny and so cheesy, but it's 100% true. You know, it's reactionary driving. This is what we were talking about earlier on here. You can plan your race out, you can plan your route out, you can choose which one of the destinations you're going to try out, but again, it all goes up until you get punched in the face.
Yep, so here we go again then. Second race, very, very quickly in action. Mion tries to catch the rear at Racer Best car. I think that was a strategic move, quite personally, David. And that was an attempt to unsettle the green machine. Oh, and Mion almost immediately throws it into the scenery. 2 mistakes in 2 races, and I think that's going to be the story of his day.
Unbelievable. Tried to get the barrel roll there, failed. Only got the car so far up there. Again, he's going to try and have to pull everything out the book there. Grinds onto it, tries to keep the top speed up there. Does a great job of it, but again, it's just such a tall order to try and be able to do that there, as we get the shockwave triggered there from Racer Best on that left-hand side. And again, nitro management being so key here right now. But again, with that 4% mark distance gap between the two of them, it's done before it's even sort of finished here. But again, we can have accidents, we can have mistakes here from Racer Best. Do we think that's likely though? That I just don't think that's going to happen.
That's the only strategy, that's the only card that Mion has to play at this moment in time, isn't it? Go as fast as you possibly can, keep the pressure on Racer Best's shoulders, and if Racer Best makes a mistake, be there to pick up the pieces. It ain't going to happen on the racetrack in terms of overall pace. It is absolutely down to Racer Best. Look at that one. He avoided doing the barrel roll, doesn't want to take any risk. He's all keep it nice and calm at this stage. No need to push. He's got the advantage, does Racer Best. The only thing that can lose this race now is a mistake, and you're seeing that very much reflected in the way in which he's driving this Lamborghini Temerario.
Yeah, and Mion giving everything that he can right now. You can see over that jump, landing on the right-hand side there, making sure that that car on the game's physics didn't count as being classed on the ground there, trying to keep the top speed up. But again, that's what Racer Best is doing as well. So in any other online race, it might be enough to catch you back up, but when you're racing somebody who's doing exactly the same thing that you're doing, Paul, you're just stemming the bleeding. You're not actually you're stopping the cut at all. Either way, we're moments away from having our second confirmed finalist in here in the form of Racer Best, Paul.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely dominant performance. 0 mistakes. Look at that one. Breaks out into a very nice green. Gets a cheers from his colleagues as well and fellow rivals in the arena, and that was a wonderful performance from Racer Best. 2 races, 2 victories. Mion, very unfortunate there, had the pace but couldn't keep it clean. A round of applause, a shake of a hand and a hug as well between the two, David. Like to see that camaraderie and sportsmanship, and Racer Best wins himself a ticket to the final. What a performance.
Yeah, absolutely loving it. And the thing is, Paul, as well, you know, while we had the win for Racer Best, let's not overlook the fact that Mion pulling out some incredible speed tricks through that run there.
Yeah.
Constantly on the rails there, constantly grinding, trying his very, very best to pull that off there. And it's a shame, because any other race that would have been a spectacle in itself, but just overshadowed by those 2 early mistakes that really cost the entire semi-final for them.
Yeah, it's a real shame, but of course, you're going to be in it to win it. You've got to minimise the mistakes, and the likes of Mion will have, and Joe as well, will have an opportunity to race off again in the 3rd place final that comes up right after this. So, we're still going to see some more of them. They've still got a chance. And then we move on to the big one, David, the grand final.
Yeah, that's it. It's all, and this is what I said earlier on, didn't I? That, you know, once we do get underway, things go by very, very quickly indeed. And now that we're thinking about the grand final and the 3rd place race off as well, there's still a lot to be at stake here. But for me, I mean, I'm thinking about that sort of 3rd place race that we've got coming up here, and we're going to have Elite Joe and Mion. I've got to be honest, I'm favouring heavily Elite Joe on this one.
And I am still going to sit on the fence and I've got no idea. But have a ponder at this one at home, folks watching this broadcast, because we're going to go on a very short break. We'll be right back for our 3rd place playoff. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Lamborghini Temerario Esports Challenge here in Asphalt Legends Unite. My name's Paul Jeffrey, David Christie is alongside me, and David, it is time for the third place playoff final, and this is going to be a very interesting encounter indeed from these drivers.
Certainly is. Elite Joe, Mayon fighting it out for the remaining honours then. Third place, and ooh, what do we think? Mayon coming off of that really troubled effort there, but you can see Mayon on the right hand side there, Elite Joe on the left hand side there, both giving each other plenty of room right now. Mayon taking an early lead, a little bit of contact, a little bit of unintended contact, so they try to wall ride through the streets here, and at the moment, again, it's what we saw there from Elite Joe, just poised and waiting, and with that nitro management.
Yeah, good little driving from both of these drivers. As you say, you picked up very well indeed that they were very cautious to give each other the racing room, but I do think that Mayon has the advantage at this moment in time. Elite Joe is going to be building up his nitro, is going to use that in one burst. Will he go for a full throw of the dice, or is he going to watch and wait? But look at this one. Mayon absolutely miles away in Elite Joy. He makes a mistake, he wrecks the car, and that is absolute disaster.
Yeah, he is not happy with that at all. He's you could see the shrug of the shoulders as if to say, yeah, that's a difficult one to watch. Mayon absolutely out in front just now again, about a 5% map difference between the two of them right now, and it's kind of disaster management right now for Elite Joe at the moment, and that looked like a little bit of a moment there for Mayon as well, actually, as he's making his way through the streets just now.
Yeah, I think so. Some kind of drama. What's happening here?
And Mayon's having connection issues, yeah.
Oh, that's such a shame, and for Elite Joe, he doesn't quite know what happened, both in the mistake or the result. But David, that's a curious one. But we'll have to unpick in a few moments' time. But the arms to the side from Elite Joe, he was not happy with that wreck at the beginning of the race, was he? Just didn't quite know what went wrong, but it ended up in absolute disaster.
Well, I tell you what, if Mayon has disconnected halfway through the race here, I'm not sure how they're going to resolve that. I'd imagine they'll just replay the entire rounds there. If that is, that's a massive get out of jail free card for Elite Joe on that one. He was obviously, he was unhappy with that collision that happened there. It obviously felt like that wasn't down to him. It is what it is. The drivers know what they're up against here. We'll wait and see. So chat, we're just as much waiting to see what happens with this one as you are. But at the end of the day, it's still for third place. So there's still, it's still for some value here. I mean,
I'll be honest, I don't know the regulation off the top of my head of what happens in this situation, but I do think it was a fait accompli for Mayon to complete the race as the victory, courtesy of the incident for Elite Joe at the start. So whether we replay it or whether we call that a result with Mayon as a winner, not quite sure. I'll keep my ears open for a little whisper in the back pocket that tells me what's happening. But end of the day, let's just forget that one for a moment and talk about the race itself, David. That was an interesting encounter up to that point, wasn't it? It is so important. We talk about it all the time. Strategy is way more important in something like this than you would expect on face value.
Yeah, that's the thing. From the outset, for somebody that's never played Asphalt before, it looks like a very simple, bright, loud, colourful arcade game. And to the most part, it absolutely is that, but there is a level of nuance, a level of detail underneath that, whether that's the car progression, whether that's the multiplayer unlocks, all that sort of stuff that really keeps players coming back for more with this game. And it's like any game in terms of you'll have the what you're able to do, and then you'll have online multiplayer gamers who are able to just keep pushing on.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll keep our fingers on the pulse as to what's happening with that one. But well, like a bit of drama, it keeps the tension high, doesn't it? It keeps things a little bit excitable. And David, I dare say that the tension is palpable here in the arena, and you can feel it from the drivers. There's a little bit of uncertainty and a whole lot of concern as to what comes next. And I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, I must admit, because pressure, and a little bit more pressure.
Absolutely, and that all adds up. You know, these drivers aren't the how do I put this? They aren't like the amped esports professionals that you see in a house, and you know they've got the nutritionist and they're having to go through all this sort of lifestyle. They're all normal people. We saw from the interviews earlier on, Paul. They've all got jobs. They're all going to college or uni, or they're all just doing their day-to-day life. And this is just something on the side for them that they love and they enjoy. So you know, it's not like they've got every waking hour of every single day that they can devote to this. And I think the other part of that is that's what makes it so achievable for everyone. Now, we're hearing behind the scenes here, we're hearing a little bit of an update here, Paul, and I think I understand why this has been decided, but Elite Joe has been given that race win there. And I'm presuming that might be due to the fact that that is the third device disconnect that we've had from Mayon. So maybe a line has to kind of been drawn at that.
And that is a big get out of jail free card for Elite Joe following that mistake at the start of the race. One in the books. It's a best of 3 at maximum. We've got 2 more races to go. And for Mayon, he's got to win. He's got to win this one for the 3rd place position in this competition. Ramp it up to 10, Mr. David Tristy, because this is getting very interesting between these two.
Yeah, and obviously you're going to have both sides of the camp, you know, happy and unhappy at that decision. As tournament organisers, you can never keep everyone happy. I learned that very, very quickly, very early on. But at the end of the day, we're on time constraints here. We have to get going with this. And here we go with the seconds of our best of 3 then between Elite Joe and Mayon. And again, we're waiting to get going here. So, Paul, you know, the moments like this, all the pressure on Mayon to get this.
Yeah, absolutely. And Elite Joe looks very calm, doesn't he? Just relaxed, having a quick look out of the window, watching the wonderful race cars drive past the front of our arena as Mayon is prepared to go. So then, let's get ready. Elite Joe versus Mayon. This is the 3rd place playoff. And Elite Joe seems to have some kind of strife already. A shrug of the shoulders. Back in the loading screen. Buenos Aires, though. At least we know the track that we're going to next, which is always a win for us commentators.
Yeah, looks like Mayon disconnecting again here, so I don't know, yeah. Well, either way, looking forward to the final though here, Paul. Once because this obviously won't have an effect on the grand final. I really am so looking forward to this, having Future Flash in there and Racer Best in there as well. I just, yeah, so much talent, so much ability in there, and yeah, I get the sneaking feeling with it being a best of 7, it's going to be a rough and ready affair.
Oh, for sure. You need to get the elbows out. We've already seen, though, this surprises me a little bit in the competition up to this point. We've seen some that, if I'm being ungenerous, I would suggest is potentially strategic contact between the cars. So it's not a full-on wreck, but a little bit of a nibble, a little bit of a chew on the rear quarter of your rivals, just to discourage them from doing whatever tactics it is they were hoping to do. I'm surprised to see that one, and as you say, David, when we go into the final in a few moments' time, when we've got this 3rd place playoff out of the way, you've got to really start using those tactics, I think, because the level of skill and speed and tenacity is so high. You've got to pluck every single thing that you've got out of your playbook to try and take this victory, and it's a big race, it's a big competition for these drivers. It means a lot to take this title.
It absolutely does, and you know, you can see that with just how hard and how much effort all these drivers are putting into this grand final here, and even to qualifying, even to getting themselves to this position. Like you said, over 1 million players taking part in this, and what I loved about it was in March this year, getting that cross-play ability added into the game here. It just opened up, but it looks like finally we're about to go racing again here. Elite Joe on the left-hand side, Mayon on the right-hand side. The purple car of Elite Joe getting a little bit of contact there from Mayon, so Mayon takes an early lead here, Paul.
Yeah, that's the strategic contact I was speaking about. A little bit of a kiss just to slow the other car down, but Elite Joe goes a different route, has a different option. Did not work out so well for him on that occasion. Oh, he did in fact, I tell a lie, as he's got the race lead. So Mayon Don't know what happened for him. He'll be shrugging his shoulders and concentrating like nobody's business to work out why that particular route he chose didn't work to his advantage. But we've got Nitro on this one. We've got tricks. We've got skill tricks that we can use. It is not over yet, David. It's still close.
It really, really is, and you can see the pace that Meon is being able to bring back onto Elite Joe right now. Elite Joe, it was Nitro management that caused that change off the lead right now. You can see that Elite Joe really pulling out all the stops here, trying to get the double taps to the boost there, trying to get the barrel roll and doing the air tricks here. But look at the closeness now. Both of them hit Shockwave at exactly the same time. Right behind was Meon. This could come into a little bit of a contact war. Meon takes the lower line now, and Meon takes into the lead.
That was a beautiful bit of driving from Meon. He's still in the race lead, but just about. There we go. A little bit of contact between the two of them as well. If you look at the left-hand side screen of Elite Joe, you can see he's in second position, but that's a wreck. Meon into the wall. That's a wreck at the end. Across the line, I think Elite Joe took that one, but goodness me, it came right down to the end of the race, David. Wowzers.
Wow, again, I think that was, it looked like a little bit of connection issues there for Meon on that one, but that seals it. That's it done and dusted. Elite Joe taking that third place then in the champion. In fact, sorry, excuse me, I'm talking absolute nonsense here. I thought it was just the final that we were having best of 7 because, of course, it's best of 7 for the third place one as well.
Oh no, I thought best of 7. I thought it was best of 3 for third place.
Well, see, I only changed that because the thing above says BO7. So I thought this was BO3, and I was getting all excited because I thought Elite Joe. We'll clarify that. See, this is what happens when you let an old man on the broadcast. I get very confused, and it's past my bedtime.
I've barely been to bed, to be fair, so I'm struggling somewhat myself. But either way, whether it's best of 3, best of 7, or best of 1,000, it's 2 wins for Elite Joe. In fact, there we go. It has updated. It is the best of 3. So Elite Joe does get that third position, which is very well deserved. A great bit of driving. Oh no, it is best of 7.
Our broadcast having some fun at the end of the day. Fun times. Right. So third place is still going on at the moment, but we are getting clarification in the background that it was actually a best of 3. Right. So we were all right. Paul. That's the long and short of it. Now that's done and dusted. Elite Joe has taken the third place. Meon moving down into 4th. I can see a lot of commiserations coming in chat for Meon on that one. And again, this is a conversation to be had. You know, maybe do drivers need to have like standard equipment? That's what we see in other forms of esports where they play on the same device to try and kind of mitigate issues like this, where there's connectivity things and all that sort of stuff. The problem is, Paul, is that it's an ever-changing landscape and it's constantly going on.
Yeah, exactly. I smell a commercial opportunity there for device usage next year. Absolutely. But the end result is Elite Joe does take that third position. Real shame for Meon. Fantastic performance all the way through. A couple of mistakes are what made the difference at the end. But still, both drivers performing absolutely wonderfully. And my congratulations go to them both. Elite Joe does take that third position. And now, David, hip, hooray. We can turn our attention towards the one that matters the most. The Grand Final. This is indeed a best of 7, the Grand Final. And this one is going to be a change in dynamic altogether for these drivers, because there's a little bit more racing action to be had, unless somebody wins all 4, of course. And I think this is where you're going to see the difference between the good and the very, very good indeed, aren't you?
Absolutely. This is. I mean, if we had a banger in the quarterfinals and the semi-finals, this, I think, is going to be one for the ages. Both two different characters there. You've got Future Flash over in the background there. You've got Racer Best here, who we honestly thought was quite shy and reserved earlier on. Look at that grid. He knows exactly what he's doing over there. So he is poised, ready to go. And a huge fan base as well for both of these drivers taking part in the final out there. The RB fan base out in chat in force. I can absolutely assure you of that. They've been loving all of the action that's there, and this is what I love as well for a mobile game or a we can't even call it a mobile game now. It's a cross-platform title now. To have these personalities coming out here, Paul, and building fan bases for themselves who come on to these streams and come and show love and support. it's such an awesome thing for these drivers.
Oh, it's incredible. And also these drivers, while building their own fan base and representing themselves and their particular brand, they also represent the brand as well. They also represent Gameloft, and the title itself, Asphalt Legends Unite. Sorry, I keep getting it wrong in my head. Asphalt Legends Unite. And it's great to see, isn't it, that you get this community support behind it. People sort of gather towards the personalities and the driving styles they like. And what I really love are these on-site events, because you get to see the people behind the screen as well. If we had more time, I would love to have talked to them on air a little bit more about their character, their life, what they do at home, who they are, that makes the persona they bring to the racetrack. And it's just fabulous to see, and it's fabulous to see these drivers giving everything they've got in these races. And these best of 7, I think, is going to be really, really quite special.
100%. I could not agree with you more on that. And you look at the two drivers that we've got here. Future Flash, who is just a dedicated professional on this one. Anyway, we'll come back to that in a second, because we are racing down the first of our best of 7, and Future Flash takes an early lead in the purple car on the left-hand side. You can see Racer Best on the right-hand side in the rainy nighttime streets here on Asphalt. Again, this is going to be a thrilling opening final rounds here. And again, Nitro Management is going to be the order of the day here.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's going to be needed, I think, as well for Racer Best in second position at this moment in time. Keeping it watching brief, though. That's Future Flash just ahead of us, using all the speed tricks that are possible, using the ramps to their advantage. There'll be a little bit of wall riding coming up as well in a few moments' time as well. I'm absolutely sure that Future Flash, he's got a great lead at this early stage. Racer Best, he's got to pull something pretty special out of the bag, Davey. Otherwise, this could be a relatively straightforward win, as things stand at least, for Future Flash.
Yeah, Future Flash doing a much better job of Nitro Management at the moment. You can see that on the left-hand side as he jumps into a shockwave, and Racer Best just doesn't have it in the tank to hold up to him just now. It's about, what, a 2-second gap there, going very, very wide up there for Future Flash, and that's how you can get the exit speed there. It looks like he went wide as we go across the line to complete another lap here. It looked like that was wide for Future Flash, but again, I think it was also to get that exit speed out of the corner here. The closing speed much closer now between Racer Best and Future Flash on this first round of the best of 7 for the grand finals here. And again, it's too close to call. I mean, Future Flash, he's so out in front, but I mean, you just can't put him past Racer Best.
This is really good stuff for the last lap around that final bank corner. Racer Best got so much momentum through the last turn. We'll keep our eye on that one as we come into the final lap. But at this moment in time, it is yo-yoing between the two drivers. Future Flash, though, still has the advantage, David, as we come into the final 20% of this race.
Yeah, and again, we're seeing the increase in the Nitro Management here from Future Flash on the left-hand side. Almost about, what, 30-40% more Nitro in the tank there as a result of this. This is what's keeping him in the lead, and in fact extended that gap out. They try to do some air tricks, trying to keep that hang time up as much as they can, but it's done. I mean, we're so close to the end of it. Both drivers going in shockwave here and across the line. It's going to be one round up to Future Flash.
Yeah, that was a fantastic race. Future Flash very confident, very comfortable behind the wheel in that particular event, and knowing nod of the head as well as he's getting ready to log into the server for his next race. But that was a beautiful performance from Racer Best. Future Flash trying to pull a few tricks out of the bag. He was very strong in that final corner, but he just wasn't quite enough to get the job done. 1-0 to Future Flash. Best of 7. Future wins the next 3 races. It's all over. It's all down to Racer Best now to bring the equilibrium back in his favour.
I think that's the great thing about this best of 7 for the final rounds here, Paul, is that it's not such a devastating blow to have one round going against you immediately off the bat. We've still got plenty of options for Racer Best to get themselves back in, but are we going to see any aggression out there? We'll find out. Racer Best on the left-hand side, Future Flash on the right, and again a very small early lead there for Future Flash. I wonder how crucial that is. Again, that's all done by track placement here, but again, you can just see immediately Future Flash does tend to pull out, but that was going to be a shockwave initiated there for Racer Best, so closes up that gap immediately.
Yeah, that's a good start. A little different route they're going this time as well. Racer Best, I think, was a little bit nervous off the line. Maybe a little bit more room than perhaps he needed to Future Flash. The Future Flash using that initiative to his advantage to take an early race lead. Let's see if Racer Best, though, can do anything about this one. Has he learned any lessons from the previous race? Is there any tactics, any strategies that he can deploy to his advantage? He's got no nitro in comparison to his rival, does Racer Best. So it's absolutely in the hands of Future Flash at this moment in time, David. It's looking like a strong performance at the front of this pack.
It really, really is. I mean, this is the biggest gap that we've seen so far from the pair of them right now. But it is Future Flash out in front with Racer Best having to do everything that they possibly can. It's not the same close race that we saw in the quarterfinals, but either way, it's still an absolute epic fight in Future Flash, doing everything that's needed to be done at the moment right now. But again, it's just not enough for Racer Best to even be on the same page at the moment.
And the thing is, there's no obvious deficiency in Racer Best driving whatsoever. It's a fantastic performance. I've been watching his side of the screen intently during this race. He's driving beautifully. He's hitting all his marks. He's doing all the speed tricks he needs to do. He's got decent, not great, but decent nitro management. It's just Future Best has got another level at this moment in time. He's just got the knack and the rhythm of this layout, hasn't he? And he's pulling it off to devastating effect.
He is, but I think it's the small mistakes here from Racer Best. Little nibbles of the wall, missing jumps here. I think that's what's starting to catch on there. Great wall ride there, though. That keeps a little bit of top speed up. And again, we're starting to see that gap starting to come down very, very slightly. But again, is it too little, too late for Racer Best there? Much better second lap there. Really, really keeping as much speed as he possibly can here. But the damage has been done at such an early stage of the race. They're going to be finished race 2 out of this best of 7, and it's going to be 2-0 for Future Flash.
Yeah, that was a superbly strong performance from Future Flash, winking the camera as well. Cool dude. Just to get that victory done. He's very happy with that one. Right, coming into race number 3, Racer Best is getting into that position now where it's falling away from him. So he needs to do something a little bit special to keep this one alive. Will that mean aggression on the start, David? Will that mean changing the tactics? This is going to be really interesting to see, because I thought in the last race, Racer Best was a little bit cautious, gave a little bit more room than necessary perhaps off of the start line, David. Now it's time to get these things out, sharpen them up and poke them in somebody's face.
The other thing as well is the fact that obviously with potential as a way to go on to a different track here, that we're going to move on. So we're off to the US Midwest for our next track here. That adds a completely different thing into the mix here. We get going underway here. We're talking about using more aggression here. I don't think that we're able to do it. In fact, it's Future Flash straight out there with the aggression.
Yeah, that was a little bit naughty, wasn't it? Pushing Racer Best straight in the barrier. There's no hold barred on this one at all. A new track, a new opportunity to reset for these drivers. But Future Flash showing how hungry he is. Absolutely on the limit of sportsmanlike behaviour, shall we say. But Racer Best on a charge, trying to close that one back up again rapidly. He's followed one before, David. Can he do it this time? Third time of asking.
Yeah, Future Flash making a little bit of a mistake there, nitroing straight into the barrier there. I think he got away with it, actually gets a little bit more there, tail of the car there for Racer Best, slamming into the wall there. And again, it's all about trying to keep this top speed up as much as you possibly can, but it's not anywhere as near as open as it was on that first map there. So maybe coming back into the favour of Racer Best, but Future Flash here again just showing the skill, showing the pace that he's got right now, slapping straight into the nitro shockwave, and that's a big mistake there for Racer Best. Loses all momentum, loses all the speed there, and that's as bad as a crash, because that's a 4% map deficit opened up by Future Flash now. And again, that shows how quickly you can go from 0 to 0.
Yeah, that's the face of a man that knows he's done a bad thing in this race. So now it is all about, let's keep our focus on our current race leader, Future Flash, on the left-hand side of your screen in the purple machine. He's won the first 2 races. He looks near faultless in this one as well. Big advantage over the car behind. Will he make a mistake? Can he keep it nice and clean? And this is some beautiful driving, David. Look how concentrated he is. Look how hard he's working on his device. A little bit of a shake of the head, actually. But I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. It's almost a checkered flag.
Yeah, he's very much enjoyed himself. But meanwhile, Racer Best is sending that car to the moon in an attempt to try and get as much nitro as he possibly can. Spirited comeback drive from Racer Best, but it's not going to be enough because Future Flash has, for all intents and purposes, got this in the bag. He comes across the line, and that is going to be it done and dusted as he takes the win. Future Flash 3-0 up, and we are on the verge of finishing this thing already. Paul, I mean, this, we said that it could, but we never thought that it was going to end like this.
Oh, absolutely. Completely agree with you on that one. We said it's very, very possible, but did not expect it at all. But Future Flash is, as you very well say, David, just a singular victory away from securing this best of 7 final here at the Lamborghini Temerario Esports Esports Challenge. Great performance, strong performance from Future Flash so far.
Yep, 3-0 up in this best of 7 then, and we go to the US Midwest for our 4th race and potentially our final race of the day here. It was officially named the North Central region, this part of the world, until about 1984, and first appeared in Asphalt 9 Legends in the game, and the drivers plenty time to get used to it. Of course, favours cars that have got good acceleration, drifting and handling, and the Temerario having 2 out of the 3 of them. But listen, Future Flash at the moment has just had everything that he's needed on this one. We're about to go ready then, potentially for the final time today.
Yeah, let's have a look then. Racer Best in the green machine. Future Flash in the purple car. That's the contact that we expect. The Future Flash using the same strategy though, trying to get to the wall. And there's a car in the way. No problem though, Future Flash gets an early race lead. He's been here before. Will he be able to seal the deal? Use all of the speed tricks he possibly can. Going for a different route this time. Followed by Racer Best though. And it's still 1-2 at the head of the pack, David. It's going to be something monumental to catch this one back up.
Yeah, it really is, but again, it's not beyond the outer realms of possibility. Future Flash getting caught here by the pace, as that's a big air trick there for Racer Best though, but that allows Future Flash to streak off into the distance there. That unfortunately might have a monumental impact on this final race here, as cutting away through the traffic that's left in the middle of the field there is Future Flash right now. And Paul, I just don't know what Racer Best has got in the tank to make this happen right now.
Yeah, it's going to rely on some kind of mistake or misfortune for Future Flash if Racer Best wants to get back in contention for this one. We're having a look at the green machine on the right hand side of your screen. That is the Racer Best car. A lot of work to do. Future Flash, though, has been nigh on faultless across both circuits that we've used over the course of this best of 7 final, making very few mistakes and certainly nothing that's particularly terminal. Future Flash, sometimes, David, when the confidence is with you, when the success is behind you, you just become an unstoppable train, and that's exactly what Future Flash is currently experiencing.
Yeah, spot on. I mean, you could see there from Racer Best there. Oh, that's a wreck for Racer Best. That hands everything on a plate to Future Flash. Future Flash now about 6 seconds ahead of Racer Best, and that is going to wrap things up for Future Flash here.
Yeah, fantastic stuff for Future Flash. Didn't need that mistake though, because he had this one absolutely under control, David, and he's proving so once again. They're all great drivers that have made it through to this finals competition, but there can only be the greatest one, and that is Future Flash. Look at that one, he looks quite emotional there, doesn't he? That means a heck of a lot for Future Flash, and that was an immense performance.
A year of hard work, a year of dedication, and it's back-to-back championships for Future Flash. He won last year's iOS Revelto Challenge. This year, he wins the Lamborghini Temerario Esports Challenge, and that is going to be a fantastic effort there. But my goodness me, he is going to happy stuff there. Big handshake, and we are very much looking forward to hearing from Paul in just a second as we go over to the podium. But big handshakes, big grins all round from Future Flash. Racer Best absolutely can be delighted with what he brought to the course today, and as we said, back-to-back championship winner for Future Flash, taking the iOS one last year. Chat, let us know what you thought about that one, because I saw a lot of support there for Future Flash. I think it's going to be a case of regrouping and coming back again for this. But we are away ahead back to the arena very shortly. We will hear from Paul and our winners. We will hear from as many of the drivers actually as we possibly can. Likely hear from Racer Best and all of our top 3 as well. As we said, keep an eye in chat for those codes that have been dumped through. I believe we've had 3. In fact, we've got all of them in there just now. So redeem them all while the finals are happening, and that will finish at the end of the day today. So you've just got till the end of the day to get those codes redeemed for yourselves. But in the meantime, what a race, what an event we've had. We got there eventually, some hiccups through the course of the day, and most of them were caused by me. I'll take the blame for most of them. But yeah, really enjoyed all of the race, and here we had just an absolute barnstormer of a semi-final, probably still one of the best races that I think we've had through the course of the day. Entries are going to open very soon for next year's competition as well, so we would love to have you with us for next year's one as well. A huge thank you as always to Gameloft, to Lamborghini and to AK Informatica for all of this event and for making all of this happen behind the scenes. I assure you, lots and lots of hair has been pulled out during the course of this morning. As I said, we'll be crossing very soon to Paul Jeffrey in Spain for live chat with our podium places again. We had me on. We'll have a chat with our second race winner as well, Future Flash. So again, while that's happening, we have to fire over to Paul Jeffrey and bring him in, and a very warm welcome to the podium interviews.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, David Christie. Thank you very much, everybody watching at home. Before we meet our podium finishers, I would like to have a quick word with Rafael Veravello from the Automobili Lamborghini outfit. You're the esports manager, Rafa. We've seen some really interesting esports today. What do you make of the event that we've just watched unfold?
Really interesting, and very excited to see this storytelling for the drivers and racing each other, and very awesome to the graphics and so on.
It's been an incredible competition, hasn't it? Very different from what we would normally see in the world of sim racing. How important is it for Lamborghini to access this kind of competition and this large player base on such a popular game that started off mobile but is now cross-platform?
Yes, exactly. As you said, it's different that we are usual to see in the sim racing. This is something what Lamborghini does, is to be unexpected and very good to be in touch with the community, all gamers.
And it's wonderful, isn't it, to see so many people here that are meeting each other for the first time, maybe even doing a LAN event for the first time, all under the name of Lamborghini, and bringing people together to share a passion that we all share and enjoy.
Yes, exactly. We are all passionate for Lamborghini.
Absolutely, Rafa. Thank you very, very much indeed. And now it's time for the podium celebration. So, I would like our audience to give a big cheer to each and every driver, please. A big cheer. In third position, after a great day's racing, it's Elite Joe. Joe. Congratulations. Congratulations to you, Joe. If you could stand here, please, under number 3. And then, in second place, it was a valiant effort in the final, but it wasn't quite enough. It's Racer Best. Fantastic. And now, there can only be one winner. Everybody's a winner who's taken part, let's be honest, but there can only be one champion. 4 racers, 4 wins. It is, of course, Future Flash. Well done, mate. Well done. Fantastic stuff. Before you take your place, I want to, if you come here a moment for a quick question or two, how do you feel after such an incredible performance?
It's an unbelievable feeling. Once again, I'm really happy with my performance this time. I disappointed some people on the previous tournament, and I'm very sorry for that. But this time I had 0 losses. I had amazing races against Joe. Really unbelievable. We really had the best races, and I'm really happy that I went to the final without losing a single race. For me, it's amazing. The whole experience coming here, all the way from Greece, Switzerland or whatever, being able to participate in Lamborghini, also having won previous Lamborghini tournaments, for example, Lamborghini Revuelto, the Lamborghini Countach, LPI, and yeah, now once again, so 3 in a row, all the Lamborghini events come to me.
Should be very proud. It's been a fantastic performance. If I can have you just in the middle of the screen under the number 1. I want to take this opportunity as well, while our drivers are having their photos, to thank everybody involved for putting this on. For Lamborghini, of course, it is their competition. I'd like to thank AK Esports. I'd like to thank Gameloft, and of course, Asphalt Legends Unite. It's cross-platform. It's a whole lot of fun. Get yourself involved as well. But from us all, thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of the show. And until next time, bye-bye.